Well, hello everybody. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let me know in the chat. Looks like we've got a few people already in. Happy New Year to all of you who are joining us for the 2022 first show. Yes, this is the early part of the show. Now, I do have a special guest today. Some of you guys might recognise him as a regular lurker in the chat room, but also you'll recognise him with his YouTube channel, which seems to be doing really, really well. And that is Jim. And Jim's joined us already, who's loves to early birds catch the worm. How you going, Jim? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Ranzee. Happy to be here. First time on your show. So, yeah, feel very privileged.
Fantastic. Well, this is the early show, Jim, so we don't usually have the other guests turn up until probably about an hour or so, but we can play with you, that's for sure. I've got some gear set up today, and in the early show, I absolutely love to noodle and muck around, and hopefully it's not too boring for you guys. What I thought I'd do today is, in fact, what we might do is we might get the 2-up happening with us. Let's do the 2-up, because the 2-up is going to be just you and me, and that way we can get rid of the 2 black squares. Let's do the 2-up. Where's the 2-up gone? Did I do that right? I didn't do that right, did I? 2-up is guest 3. There you go. Beautiful.
There we go.
I might actually swap us around. I think we've almost got our backs to each other, don't we? Let's swap us around. So guest 3, guest, and then host. That's better. We kind of look more proper.
Yeah.
It's just bad English, isn't it?
Yeah. You're over that way.
Just point to yourself. Yeah, it's good to have you. Obviously, we've seen you in chat, and it's nice to see your face. I have actually been checking out some of your videos on your channel. We will give you a nice little plug in the main show. We'll give your channel a plug and go through some of your videos. How long have you been doing that for, the channel?
Not long at all, really. I mean, it's kind of secondary to me. I'm not kind of a YouTuber. I don't know what the all my friends are synths thing is. So that's not me, I don't think.
I don't know what that.
Yeah, I mean,
might have been a typo. I think. Hang on, let me just fix that up for you.
All right.
That's a typo.
I've not been doing the channel much at all. I mean, it's more of just a place to sort of put stuff. Really, it's not my main focus. My main focus really is just the writing of stuff. That's something I've been doing for a long time. Yeah, brilliant.
Beautiful.
So yeah, for more than 30 years, I've been writing music using computers. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that is actually a really, really cool thing. And obviously, I don't have a button to get back to the 2-up. I'm going to have to do it manually. That sucks. Actually, I could slide it, couldn't I? I could go.
Oh,
there we go.
That did work.
Oh, that should work for you.
Oh, yeah.
And then it disappears, which is what it's supposed to. And that doesn't have titles. Good. Did mine work?
Excellent.
Or has mine got some weird crap on there?
It's just you with no name.
Me with no name. All on my lonesome. Anyway, what have I been doing? Okay, so over on Eurorack land, which is, God knows which button it is these days. I think it might be this button. Yaha. Right. What I've been doing is playing around with the VCA Matrix. Now, you guys might remember I got this crazy VCA Matrix recently, which is a prototype from Unruhi, which is a small boutique modular company. There's the close-up of the mixer. Now, if I just move the camera a little bit to the left, you can see there's the VCA Matrix there, right? So what I'm doing, I'm actually playing around with getting Eurorack out of Eurorack and into other gear, and then back into Eurorack again. Now, I've got some big plans for doing this. Now, I kind of want to mangle sounds in Eurorack, get it out of Eurorack, put it through outboard effects, you know, sort of rack mounted effects or pedal effects, that sort of stuff. And then I want to get it back in again. And maybe I don't want to get it back in. I might want to just record that. But the whole point is I want to be able to do a little bit of sort of flexibility, if you like. So what I've done, I don't know if this interests you or not, Jim, but what I've got here is the wonderful Ableton. We all love Ableton, or we all hate it, one of the two. And I've got a couple of audio channels happening in here. Now, the magic is not really anything in Ableton itself, but I'm using Ableton to manipulate the digital audio side of things. So Eurorack coming in as just that second channel here. This is Euro. So that I'll just hear the noise. Then I've got two audio channels here, and they're coming out of my Expert Sleepers ES8, ES9, ES8, I can't forget what it is now. It's like a digital audio module that goes in Eurorack, and it's got four analog outputs and 8 analog inputs, and you can expand on that too. And so I'm just using the outputs at the moment to get it into here, and then I can route it through, just through the magic of using digital audio. And if we go to my RME interface, I've got 2 pedals connected up at the moment, which is the ones I've been using you know, for the last couple of months. One is the Big Sky, the Strymon Big Sky, and the other one is the Boss DD500, which is that kind of crazy over-the-top digital delay and a whole bunch of other modulation effects. Now, the reason why I'm showing it on this is because this is kind of where the magic happens, but the actual secondary magic happens by using sends, digital sends in Ableton. So you can see audio channel 3 here has digital send C, and if you go over to digital send C, it's a return that goes to an external output. So I'm actually using the return to use a digital output channel. And the great thing about ADAT is it has ins and outs. Most ADATs do, some cheaper ones don't. And if we go back to our matrix here, all of these lovely knobs can represent feeds into those outputs. At the moment, I've only got 2. So I've got these 2 purple cables here. One's going to the Big Sky and the other one's going to the DD500. Now, they're only a mono signal, but the great thing about those pedals is they return a stereo signal. So, stop yapping, stop crapping, let's have a listen. Now, I've got to get audio happening for you guys, don't I? I need to turn it on. Are you hearing double, or is that just me? I think you're not hearing double. Okay, cool. All right, now if I pull off, where are we? We need to. Right. So that's just a feed of a bass line, right? Now this dark grey pot here should be the DD500 if I've done this properly. In fact, you can actually see it doing that beautifully in Ableton. And then I can back that off. And if I don't want to hear the original source, I can actually just mute that. And I can just hear the effect. So that's just the pedal you're hearing now. And then you can blend it with the original. And sometimes we lose a bit of beat if we have a kick in. That should help us. And it's nicely all synced up. All right, so that's pretty basic stuff, right? What about getting some sort of crazy long taily reverb thing happening? So we can go Big Sky. The beauty of Big Sky is, you guys are hearing that, right?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, beautiful. The beauty of Big Sky is that the shimmer you can set to like fifths or sevenths or whatever you want, and it's got a long tail on it. And so I'll just back the other stuff off. Let's just have a listen to the original, yeah, without the shimmer. So that's just a very simple single voice analog synthy sound. But if I take that off and I put the shimmer back on, so now we've kind of got this rich out of Eurorack back into Eurorack. Now I should actually mention too, it does actually go back into Eurorack. What's a good view to do that? There. And then I'll go down a little bit. So what I've got on behind all this mess, you will not see it, so there's no way I can actually show you. There's a Roland System 500 mixing module in the back there. And so what I've got is, the good thing about the Roland System 500 mixing module is you can actually set the 6 channels up as stereo channels because they've got panning on them, and you can actually CV control your panning as well. And yeah, so basically there's a big mixer in front here, which is which is where everything goes in, and then that goes out as a main out into the Roland mixer at the back. Now I can pipe that Roland mixer anywhere I like. So at the moment it's going in through another ADAT module, or I could pipe it right next to it, which is where the ES8, you can't see it, it's underneath all this mess, but that's why there's a lot of mess there, because there's so much patching just in that little tiny area. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool thing. Let's go back to our ugly mugs, and we can have a little chat about it if you like. You can hear a bit of background noise, so I might just mute that. That's still feedback and all sorts of stuff going into that Strymon, I think. So let's just mute it for a sec. There we go. That keeps things nice and quiet.
Oh, yeah, makes a difference. Yeah. No, that's sweet. Is it? So it's coming back in stereo, is it? I'm not sure the feed was in stereo, or perhaps there wasn't much stereo effect on there. But yeah,
it should be coming. It should be coming through in stereo. I don't know if I thought I could hear it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so it does come back in stereo. So I'm sending the two pedal outputs that each has got a left and a right back into one of my ADAT modules, and then I pick those up inside Ableton, and then I send them back into the Expert Sleepers module, and then out of that goes into the Roland mixer, which has 2 panned left and right channels. That way you get the stereo effect. Yeah, it sounds interesting. So I guess where from here? Basically it means that you can, any synth that will take an input, you can pass it through its filter, or you could use its VCA or anything like that. You could use that sort of basic sort of stuff, modulation maybe, or you could even DC couple stuff. So there's actually, you don't have to just use audio, you can DC couple things as well. And I guess then from there, back into Eurorack, you can mangle things in Eurorack. So I've got modules that do things like bit crush or sample and resample. So I've got the Roland Scooper, for example, which is like a scatter effect. You can play with that. If you want, then you can send it back out again and go on some crazy infinite loops, droney sort of stuff if you want to. I guess kind of with me, the big thing is to actually kind of have a matrix that makes sense. Like visually, I like to know, this one's only 4x4, but I know there's 4 things going in and there's 4 things going out, and those 16 knobs represent what I'm allowing it to do. And the cool thing about it is each input can affect any of the outputs, and you can even blend the outputs. And if you don't, in this case, I actually don't have the outputs coming back into the matrix. I could, if they're mono, but in this case, I've got the outputs just going straight back into another input somewhere else, which is cool. You could actually use the the mixer part of this matrix to put something else in. So you're completely free to do what you like, which is a cool thing.
Cool, excellent.
Yeah. What about yourself? What sort of things are you playing with?
At the minute, well, my latest purchase was an Octatrack, so I'm trying to get my head around like that. Like many people have definitely said before me. The idea with that is to use it for a bit of sort of live guitar looping, sort of in sync with MIDI stuff, and to use that live. So yeah, that's bit of a steep learning curve on that one compared to I've got the Digitact and Digitone as well, which I love, and they seem very straightforward by comparison to configure and set up. The Octatrack is just so versatile and so crazy. It can do so many different things that but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Digitact Octatrack, because I've got an Octatrack as well as an A1. And I haven't actually kind of dived into the Electron world as much as I'd like to. But one thing I will say is the actual sound out of the back of the Octatrack. There's something special about it. I don't know what it does to the audio, whether they just use really, really good samples or whether it's got some really nice... in the old days we used to buy hi-fi and we were kind of like certain brands had a certain sound, like Technics had a sound, you know what I mean? So the Octatrack, well, the Electron gear actually has a really nice quality about the output. And that goes a long way in your mix, because I've noticed with tracks that I've made, and I've used the Octatrack as a drum machine, people have come back and said, oh my God, the drums on that are amazing. What did you use? And you tell them and they go, oh, okay. So, and I think the Digitac is the same as well.
Yeah, that's definitely got some magic to it, especially with the compressor on the master. There is a noticeable difference between using the analog outputs and say using overbridge into a DAW. There's something very special about the analog outputs on that as well. After being put through the compressor on the master, it just sort of really does sort of warm everything up and tighten it up really nicely.
Yeah, they've got.
Yeah, the sound quality on the whole is just really good. I mean, the effects on the Octatrack are a bit ropey, to say the least, compared to the others, but they'll do.
Yeah, I mean they've got the analog heat and the those boxes with the effects in them and that. And I know that there's a lot of guys that kind of really use them in their setup to, like you said, to add warmth. Those sort of things are really, really sought after. And there's some special electronics and there's some special stuff in there that you can't replicate with other gear. So they've got some secrets that they're holding close to their chest, which is a good thing. And it's cool that you're using it, because you're gonna enjoy that sound. And as you said, you noticed already the difference between the overbridge sound, which is a very clean, clinical, digital sound that it brings straight into your DAW, versus the actual pure analog outputs. Even if you don't put compressor on it, they still sound. There's just something. There's something there.
Yeah.
It's a special thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think Brooksy's turned up.
I was going to ask you actually.
Oh, yeah, awesome. You ask. I'll put Brooksy on while you're talking.
I was going to ask what you use for your ADAT expanders. Yeah,
so great question. Let's bring Brooksy in while we've got him. Oh, hey, matey. You there? You're good?
Hello, Tommy. Is that working?
Yeah, it's working.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Bloody hell.
Blimmin'
I could do an inky and hide behind the mic.
Yeah. This is a different view for you. Let's go kind of let's go Dutch with it.
It's a bit 8-bit. What's the matter with that bloody camera now? Yeah, I just thought I'd move it to the other side. It's all Stephen. It's all Mac's fault. He said the camera was in the wrong place, so I thought I'd move it up there. So yeah. Anyway,
beautiful.
So
fantastic.
8-bit, that, isn't it? Is it coming together now? Is it all coming?
I think it's just new and it wants to kind of settle. The little electrons are kind of working themselves out. Don't forget, it is going to the bottom of the world and back out again. So it does have to do some magic.
Well, Jim's nice and clear, and he lives down the road.
Jim
Jim,
probably pays more for his internet than you do.
Hi, Andy. I actually run it all off my phone. So, no, it's all off my phone.
That's way too clever for me.
Flat, so.
Oh, wow. That is very clever. Wow. Okay, chatties, let's pop them up in the corner there, and we'll have to try and remember to bring Darren in a bit later because he's coming on. Okay, so to answer Jim's question, right. That's a great question. And I think, should we start? I'll start with the Mac because I think you can see it all here. So with the Mac, I have an RME diggy face. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little thing. I'll show you a picture of it in a sec. And it's basically got 4 ADAT in and outs at the back of it and a USB 2 connection. And it's so rock solid. It's just a brilliant little thing. The only negative thing about it is it's not class compliant. It's a specialty driver, but there's a reason for that specialty driver, which you will grow to love and use, like things like the loop back feature in it and stuff like that. I'm an ex-Presonus user. I wouldn't say ex, I've still got, you're actually listening to Presonus right now for the stream. I kind of got a little bit angry with them because they, through all the midst of them being bought out by Focusrite, or whoever bought them out, I forget now, sorry, they kind of dropped the bundle with updating their software and with the Mac stuff, the new Silicon Mac. So I couldn't wait for them. I still had to keep going. I had an album coming out, so I went across to RME. Everyone was telling me, go RME, go RME. They're really, really good. So far, whoever's been saying that to me has been completely true. So yeah, so that's the kind of the end part of it, Jim. And then if you look at if we travel around the studio, I've got cheapest chips Behringer 88, 8200 ADAT modules. I will eventually upgrade them to more expensive ones, but I mean, seriously, the next level up is about 5 times the price. So for now, it'll do.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've got one of those in my rack as well. Most of the stuff is going into a Presonus Quantum 2626. But then, yeah, I've got the ADA 8200 as well, just for any overspill, which I'm currently not using. I'm managing to get everything in just through the Quantum. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is with me, I've got the precursor to the Quantum. I've got the Studio 192, which came out before the Quantum. Mm-hmm. And it's been okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But I need an interface for the PC that I use to stream on, and I need a separate interface for the Mac that I do my music on. So the Presonus stays with the PC. That's been rock solid, and the RME has got the new duties over on the Mac. And being a Mac M1 owner, sort of flying in the wind of new tech. Everything has to kind of work, and it's hard flying in the new tech because you are struggling every day with things not working. Like, for example, right now, Roland cloud plugins don't work on my Mac because I upgraded it to Monterey, which is the latest. And I stupidly wasn't thinking when I did it, and now all of a sudden I've lost half of my VSTs because I've upgraded my Mac's operating system. So you get all kind of stupid things like that happening. But yeah, anyway, we digress. In terms of piping around the studio, it's all sort of plumbed into. I've got 2 Behringer 88 8200s, and I've got the Expert Sleepers ADAT module in my Eurorack. So that fills up 3 ins and outs in the back of the RM, and I've got 1 spare if I need to expand. And you can actually daisy chain 2 of them together. So think about the amount of inputs I could bring out. It's just crazy. No, it's not an excuse to buy more gear. We should.
Did we lose Andy?
Andy's just blacked his camera. He's probably off to do something. We should have a quick hello to the chatties. It's awesome having so many cool people here. A lot of people would be on holidays or away. I don't know what they're doing. We're not allowed to go anywhere where we live. We can only travel within the confines of the state that I live in. But anyway, there's still plenty to do. So yeah, let's go through and say hello to everyone. I don't know who was first. I think it might have been Future World Machines. So big hello to you. JX3D's there. It's one of my Patreons and a long-time supporter of the show. He's been on the show as well, as you guys know. Just recently did a massive help with putting together that mastering show that we did a few weeks back. So big hello to Henrik. He's awesome. Woogu, it's lovely to see you as well. We've also got Steve Ward. You can see Jim again. He's in chat. We've got Robbie Puricelli. Nice to have Failed Muso in there. He's awesome. And I don't know if you guys know, but he's one of the hosts of that fantastic show on Friday called Pro Synth Network. And it's awesome to have him around. ASIO Head is also here, Bert. Good to have him. Ben is there, Ben Breslin. Who else we got? Oh, we got Inverted. Good to see Inverted. I was actually sitting on one of his streams the other day. He was doing a whole bunch of ambient stuff. It was awesome. Check out Inverted Popes' streams. They're really, really good. He noodles around with his Mother 32 and a few other bits of Eurorack gear and stuff. It's awesome. Cresshead's there. Good to see Cresshead. And as I scroll, I think they're just all chatting to each other. So it's always felt a little bit quiet at the start, but we get more coming. You can see that I can actually see the chat growth as a graph here. Sasquatch has popped in. It's good to see Sasquatch. And Mr. Rochelle. I think Mr. Rochelle might be a newbie. So big hello to you. If you're a newbie, let us know. We always like newbies. Yeah. What else? Martin Taylor. Big hello to Martin. And I always manage to scroll off the screen and forget a whole bunch of people towards the end. Yeah, this is what it does. It always does that to me. I think I've got most of you guys though. So Happy New Year to all of you. Hope you all had a really, really good season. We'll call it seasons vacation. A lot of people get a little bit of time off work around this time of year, don't they? So you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, you've got a very cold part of the year. We've got a very hot part of the year down here in Australia. So we had about 12 days in a row, which was sort of hitting around the 40 degrees Celsius mark down here. It was nasty. I was melting, I think. Yes. I didn't really do much in the studio because it's just really not. I have air conditioning in here and everything, but it's still just not nice. So yeah, I haven't really done much. I have been busy doing one thing though, and you guys will talk about that a bit later, probably when we get to the main show. And that was kind of about 1.5 years worth of work. Finally got to launch that. We'll talk about that a bit later. Yeah, so I don't know if we don't have Darren yet. Darren is definitely coming, and he's more than welcome.
He's in the chat.
Oh yeah, he's just jumped into the chat now. There you go. Look at that. Right on cue, hey? Just when we were talking to him.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what can we do? We can go back to having a little play, can't we? Just while we're sort of. Oh, Andy, I will get to talk to you a little bit later about just when we do our formal intros at the main show. So we'll talk to you about those things that you mentioned to me, as well as how you've been progressing with everything. So we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think probably for the next 10 or 20 minutes, I think we'll just have a bit more of a noodle. You guys are more than welcome to ask questions as I go. Too.
Yeah.
All right.
What are you noodling on?
So, yeah, like what I've been doing is I've been actually before we go to this, I'll just talk to you guys. I've been planning my my new case, which is something that I've paused towards the end of last year, and I don't know why I paused. I think I was just busy. And I went to the hardware store today to sort of map out what do I actually need. And one of the things I've noticed is that you can't really buy planks of wood that are anything more than about 20 mil wide. Like, that's about it. If you want a 40 mil wide side to your Eurorack case or something like that, you've got to actually like join two pieces of wood together. If you want to use proper hardwood, that is. If you want to use, you know, manufactured wood, there's plenty of that sort of stuff around, like chipboard and stuff. But I want to use some nice proper wood. I want to have it as a pretty decent piece of furniture. Luckily for me, though, my son did just finished his woodwork. He did it over a few years at school, and so he's learnt how to do joinery and everything. And so he can get a couple of pieces of wood together, you wouldn't even see the join. So I'll be definitely abusing the father-son trust relationship there to have that out. And I guess the other thing that kind of shocked me, I don't know what it's like in your part of the world. You probably don't even know because you're not in the market for wood, but we can't get it at the moment here. It's crazy. There's pine, but that's about it. There's literally scraps of all the good stuff, and if you want the good stuff, it's extremely expensive. And I just priced up how much I'd need today with just a sort of a brand of wood that we get in Australia called Jarrah, which is a dark sort of coloured wood. And I was looking at over 500, or it's about 250 pounds worth of wood. It's just wood. Like, wow. Oh my God. I didn't think this was going to cost me this much, which is kind of where I was getting at. So I don't know whether I have to skimp on the wood or... Yeah, go.
Yeah, pretty much all building supplies have rocketed up in cost, you know, since the start of the pandemic anyway. So yeah, I'm not surprised that wood is, you know, become extremely expensive as well.
Yeah, I think it might be, like you said, I think it is because of the building industry. One of the things that's happened where I live is because our government, they locked the borders here, and they have probably almost for the last 2 years almost. It's been crazy, like we've been prisoners in our own state. Lots of people...
Like old times.
Yeah. Lots of people left and everyone else had to stay. No, I get that joke. That was a good one. So as a result of that, people were sort of renovating their houses or building or staying, and, you know, they had nothing else to do. So I think it caused a little mini building boom where we are. So there's a few people in chat who are saying, go to a proper timber supplier. Yeah, I am. I've got a guy just down the road from me who owns a like a proper timber supply shop. The hardware stores are a little bit overpriced. Human Error is a cabinet maker. Wow. Any questions, please ask. Definitely will. Definitely will. Yeah. So basically what I have to do is I'm going to be making two 104 HP times, so it'll be 5 tiers. And I can actually show, I've been into modular grid and I've been having a little play of what I want the Eurorack cases to look like. So let's see if we can get modular grid happening. And I don't really know if this is going to be the end result. Sorry, I've just got to log in first. And we go, my modular, is that? My modular? Yeah, here we go. Okay, this button, cool. So 5 tiers, so you've got bottom tier. This is Skiff 2, so this will be mostly the Behringer stuff. I'm going to be putting the System 100 up the top. Then the next, it'll probably be the next row or two will be the 2500 stuff. And one of the things that I haven't got at the moment is this module here. This is the oscillator. So you just can't get them. I don't know what's going on. Chinese chip suppliers, I don't know what's going on there. This will be like sequences down the bottom. and I don't really know what I'm going to do down there, but I've got the mixer for the bottom there. So that one's kind of going to be a work in progress. I'm not really sure if that's exactly how it'll be, but this one will probably be pretty much how you see it. So this one's going to be kind of a mix of a whole bunch of different sounds. So you've got the rings up the top, which is called Ranzee, brains, which is like the plates or plats. You've got SIDs, which is a Commodore 64 SID sound, and then you've got the System 500 modules here. So that's that Roland sound. And then across this row here, these are all sort of sequencers and envelope generators and LFOs, and there's a couple of drum modules on the right. So I'll probably play around with where they sort of sit. And then below is going to be all effects. So you've got, these all exist now, I can show you in a sec. So there's phases, analog phases, analog chorus, the dystopia, which is kind of a bits of module, scooper, which is the Roland, magneto, and the typhoon, which is the clouds clone. And then down the bottom is all your sort of connectivity stuff and your Pamela, which is like your clock. So the FH2 is MIDI, and there's that mixing matrix for the VCA, and there's another mixer. And then you've got your expert sleeper stuff on the right. So that will the 5 tiers aren't going to be straight like that. They'll all be sort of, you know, one will be sort of flat on the bottom, and it will kind of sort of slowly to the top one will be flat vertically that way. So it'll start flat horizontally and then curve up, which is kind of what most people do. I think it's a pretty sort of safe thing. Now the reason why I want to go with 2 cases is in the future, if I go with a really big case, I'm stuck with a really big case. In the future, if I want to scale down, I can sell a case and the gear in it, or just sell the case by itself. Or if I want to separate them and move them into different parts of the studio, I don't have to keep them together. I don't know if you can tell, but in here, I use these IKEA desks, and they're you can get them all over the world now. And they're a 1200 millimeter desk. So those cases that I'm building are beautifully going to fit on top of that. So it's all based on me and my selfish needs, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Why not?
Absolutely.
And just to show you, most of those modules, except for the oscillator, are here that you saw in those skiffs. So what do we need to do that one there? Actually, no, go back to here. I have got a pile of modules that I'm dying to use. I'm just going to move the camera around to show you guys where they all sit. They're literally just sitting in boxes. Like, for example, I've got reverb stuff, and it looks like a mess. So when I show you this, you'll see the exact what I'm talking about. There's boxes, there's like the Behringer 960, there's modules sitting there.
I've got a corner.
Yeah. So like that, if you're wondering where that is, that's just there that you just looked at. So it's just above my head there. I'm dying to put all that stuff into use. You know, there's Andy's got the 960. It's a great little sequencer actually. It's so Tangerine Dream, isn't it? It's really...
Oh, it's fab. Yeah, I mean, you can just about now at the bottom of the where my finger is, that's pointing it. That picture's rubbish down there, by the way, but never mind. That's my 960s. That's... Yeah, look at that. Just looks like a load of black knobs, doesn't it? Never mind. Never mind. Bloody internet.
It's not too bad though. I reckon it'll clear up. You've probably just got a whole bunch of people in your building using the internet at the same time. I do like what you've done there though,
because it's pissing down outside. Yeah, it took a bit of sort of rummaging around to sort of find us. I was worried that the racks, because they're set back a bit, are they going to be too far out of arm's length? But when I move the chair over there, it's not. It's easy. So nothing plugged in there right now because I pulled all the cables out so I could put a couple of new bits in. But like I said, we'll talk about that in a bit maybe. So,
and you've got you've got them side by side. So you've basically got 2 rows of 140 HP those cases. I forget.
Yeah, so it's 280 in each case.
Wow.
And it's fillable because the power supply is included.
Yeah.
So that's, what is that, 560 HP? Is it?
That's a lot of HP in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I know, it's bloody scary. Okay, there's 3 modules, right? I seem to have a thing for these. I mean, all the System 100 ones, they're actually quite big, but you get, for the most part, you get 2 of each. When you buy a module, you've got 2. So the oscillator module's got 2 oscillators and so on. But on the left-hand cases, we're looking at it, there's the Pro 1 is in there, the D is in there, and the Nacons in. Are they? I mean, you showed on your sort of modular grid picture, when you've got the 960 and I can't remember, it was the Metropolix, wasn't it? The 960 and the Metropolix in there. You've taken up most of 104 HP with that, just with those 2 modules. They're really big. I mean, you can see there's a pretty big gap down at the bottom of the right-hand case, which is where I'm planning where the new stuff is going to go, which will be a sort of a module a month over the next sort of 6 months, and then that will probably be pretty much filled.
The 960 is 56 HP.
Yeah.
And
the D is 70.
The Metropolis is 34, and then I've got next to the 960, I've got the what do you call it? The 962, which is the little switch thing that sort of complements it. So if you add the 962 and the 960, it's 56 plus 8, so 64 HP. Like, that's just taken up so much real estate. Yeah,
it's a mass. Some of these things are huge lumps. Like even in that right hand rack, the System 100 is the QD drum module. That's a big thing as well. It's great. Yeah, that's a fab module.
Yeah, it is. There is a
Sorry,
20...
Jim. I know you're not a Euro racker, are you yet?
Oh my God!
I can't go there.
It is definitely a trap. It is. And there's guys in the chat. There's guys in the chat that will be throwing their synths at the stream right now. Stop talking about Eurorack. They'll be yelling at us. Stop it. You know what? I'd rather be talking about Eurorack than talking about VSTs. That's for sure. Because I'm not happy about VSTs.
Another bloody VST. Oh.
I'm not happy about them.
It's just the Roland thing.
I'm not happy.
Ooh.
No.
And
there was another guy who was talking about it today as well. But anyway, Jim, let's talk about your gear, because it is going to be a gear show today. So why don't we fill up a bit of time? Which button are you using?
That's what we're here for.
Can see a bit of gear.
So I've literally only been in here. I'm actually moved into this apartment 4 days before Christmas.
Ooh, spanking new.
It is very new. And I could probably grab the webcam and just show you around a little bit. So over there, I've got master controller, got the Model D and TD3, of course, mini log. The main thing is that I absolutely love this thing is the Console 1 and fader, which is just brilliant for mixing. Absolutely brilliant. Microphone, I have a Neumann TLM 102 that I absolutely adore, and that goes into this Safe Sound tracking toolbox, which is basically a sort of half rack, 1 unit sort of preamp and compressor and limiter and expander. That's pretty decent. Monitoring, I've got my Genelec cases with
the sub.
And over here I've got my live rig, which I used for the first time relatively recently in a gig in North Wales. So just got the Digatone, Digitact, an Autobit Junior, and the old Korg NTS one. That's really sort of compact, sort of live rig. That's really handy for sort of just quick setup and everything.
I'm not very familiar with the Autobit. Do you want to sort of tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's basically a sort of sorry, let me just move my mic. Yeah, it's basically a bit crushing, sample rate reducing, stutter sort of effect. And yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. The stutter effects will only do in mono, but the other stuff it'll do in stereo. But yeah, it can do like really just crazy chopped up sort of. It's brilliant for just chopping beats up and stuff on the fly. And I basically sort of use that live, just sort of hitting it in and out the end of bars and things to get a bit of variation. But yeah, that's really neat. And I've got a shed ton of acoustic treatments in here.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Absorbers, ceiling cloud, yeah, Skyline diffusers that I built myself.
That's awesome.
Luckily, I knew somebody with a picture framing business, and they had loads of offcuts, and so I just built a little jig, and yeah, got to making some Skyline diffusers. So if we can fix that back up there. Over there as well on the floor, you can see there's a Fender Champ that is basically a replica that I built. So yeah, getting back a bit into the sort of cabinetry conversation again.
Yeah.
You're proper clever, Jim.
That's
you are. You're a...
Thank you very much.
But you've taken the same...
I'm just a little obsessive.
You've taken the same idea with me. I kind of like to use like canvas art, and because my wife's a photographer, right? And we have quite often we have canvases that were not printed correctly, or they come back damaged from clients and they want to replace them. So you can just rip off the canvas and you've still got the pine, the stretch frame around it, and they make perfect audio treatments. And all you have to do is just go to the local haberdashery store and just stretch a bit of fabric around it, and yeah, they do the job. Put a bit of foam underneath.
Yeah, so I've all these I sort of built myself. Just using largely offcuts, and yeah, sort of Hessian and 45 kilo per meter, 45 kilo per meter cubed sort of rock wool, the RWA 45, which is just brilliant.
You've gone well proper.
Right in the corner.
Oh, we've just lost you. We've just lost you, Jim. You've gone all stuttery. You've gone all stuttery, mate. Just while we sort Jim out. I think what I'll do is I just want to show you guys. This is, I don't know if I've shown you guys this before, but this is these are sort of what I'm talking about with canvas art. So these are just above me. So they're just kind of offs that they're just absorbing sound. Yeah. Oop, there goes Jim. Boom. Eventually went pop. Don't know what that is. Not my end, by the way. So you guys should still be seeing me okay. There he is. He's back. You just went all jittery, Jim.
Yeah. Very strange.
Oh, it's internet. It won't be anything you did. Do not worry about it.
It's very cold and very wet here at the moment, and I think everyone's indoors watching Netflix and other services and on the internet, and it just everything's a bit indoors today.
You know who else is joining us? It's we did mention him before. And it's Darren. He snuck in very quietly. There he is there.
Yeah.
Hi, Darren.
Okay. Nice hair, Darren.
Hello. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Nice to see you, Jim. Andy, Rant.
Nice to see you too, Darren.
Hope you've all had a good New Year and Christmas as well.
Yeah.
Hope you did too.
I did, mate. Thanks. Yeah. Hope you and the...
it was okay.
It was okay? Well, it's better than bad.
It was all right, yeah. Exactly. It wasn't bad, so that's one good thing. So, yeah, it was just quiet, just nice. Just nothing to get overexcited about, and then again, nothing to worry about neither.
Well, you can share with us when we start the main show anything that you would like to share with us. That's completely up to you. Yeah, we were just talking to Jim. I don't know how much you saw of that, but he was just showing us around his studio and talking about acoustic treatments.
I've been in and out you've been on for the last hour. I've just been in and out doing things, so I've seen most of it, just bits I've missed. So continue, Jim. Let's see your nice studio.
I was pretty much done, to be honest, other than what's in the rack, which is, just the Quantum 2626 and the ADA 8200 and a couple of other bits.
Beautiful.
But yeah, so.
Yeah. What do you does the sampling rate that you have on your Quantum? Do you go to 96, or are you sort of using it around 48?
48. Yeah, I don't really sort of see, particularly for what I do, the value in going to 96. To be honest, just for storage, etc. Yeah, to be mixing, a full project where I've actually recorded stuff in at 96, it'd just be huge. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do 48 myself as well, and I'm the same. I kind of feel like they've had 48 for years. Like it's just a nice sample rate. I can see there's some benefits of going to a higher sample rates with certain recordings and certain technologies. Like, for example, you might want to, I don't know, sample some analog gear and store that separately as a stem or something at a higher sample rate. But when I kind of bring my music out, it's all 48. And in fact, when I published my album earlier, some of the streaming platforms were complaining that it was sampled at 48. They wanted it at 44, which I thought was disappointing.
Yeah. I know, it's funny, isn't it? They'll catch up eventually, I'm sure. For doing sort of sound design stuff, I can see the point in doing sort of higher sample rates and ultra high sample rates even, and pitching down. But for most, I did actually read the Lavery engineering paper on sampling theory, and I think the conclusion was that an optimum sample rate was about 60 kilohertz. Obviously, we're nowhere near that sort of mathematically, but so yeah, between 48 and 96 is kind of optimum.
Yeah, I think there are some like high-end gear that you can actually adjust the sample rate to whatever you can actually dial it in to whatever you want. So and you can also do it with certain computer software as well, but most gear is kind of either set to 48 or 96 or even higher. So it can be a challenge too, because like, for example, Darren and I both have the MX1 mixer, and the MX1 mixer will go to 96. But if you use the digital input on it, it can only take a 48K input, I believe. And if you try to put a 96K input in it, it just gives you a blank sound or no sound at all. So yeah, look, I personally don't. I probably sample most things at 48K because everything here that's how it's set up, and I'm pretty lazy. It's like I don't want to have to fiddle around with stuff like that. So yeah. Now, Brooksy, you've got most of your gear is analog except for your audio interface, right? So your mixer's analog, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it's just I've got just up here is a Mackie 16 input. Can't remember what kind of 16 for version 3 or something like that. Yeah, it's just 16 input Mackie. So that's all analog. That the USB built in, which is what this is coming through now. The mic is coming through that because this computer it didn't like the Steinberg UR22 interface at all. Didn't like it. I never managed to get that to work properly with this. So again, this is yet another sound card audio interface that just doesn't seem to want to work once I've upgraded a computer. This is now meaning I'm going to have to get a third one. I get cross. So
Yeah.
any recommendations for those are welcome. I mean, listening to what you've been saying about ADAT and multiple inputs into your computer, now that's something I think is going to be quite important as this thing over here has expanded. Now I'm thinking about the various jewels that you can get, but I think also decent sort of rack mounting sound card is probably not. I keep calling them sound cards. I want the interface is probably what I'm after. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, what Jim's got is probably a good high end, but not going to kill your budget too much. But for rack mount, the Quantums are good.
Can you say so? What is it again, Jim? That you've got which interface? Take a drink.
Oh, you're muted, Jim.
Muted, Jim. Take a drink.
I'll take a drink of coffee. Right, so I've got the 2626. I would have gone for the fully adult Quantum if I'd had the funds, because that's really handy to have the sort of preamps that you can set digitally. Whereas this has just got sort of knobs that you just have to turn and no markings, so you're pretty much guessing if you've got a stereo pair in. You've got to just sort of match it up best that you can. But yeah, and but for in terms of inputs and outputs, it's absolutely great. It's got ADAT in and out. I think it's got 2 pairs of ADAT in and out. So yeah, and I'm actually, it's also got clock out as well. So I'm actually clocking my ADA H200 from the Quantum, because I imagine it's got a much better clock than the Behringer. So hopefully that sort of tightens things up if I do put stuff through the Behringer.
It will, but I mean, word clock is pretty basic, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. One thing that you do have to be careful of, and that is the so if you were to go with 2 ADAT modules on the back, I don't think it can do the top sample rate on all of the ADAT. Yeah. It kind of cuts it down, so it might drop it down to 48 or something like that.
Yeah, you basically sort of halve your number of ins and outs if you go for top sample rate. So.
That's it. That's the one. Yeah. So some people I've talked to guys that work in like music stores that they have customers coming back raging at them. You told me it had so many inputs and it doesn't at 96K. It only does. Yeah. People understand how sample rates work. They'll chill out a bit. Yeah. I do want to mention quickly, and I think it's disappeared off the screen. It has. Future World Machines has popped a €5. Happy, have a good 2022, everyone. So I just wanted to say a big shout out to him. Thank you very much for the €5. Much appreciated. Very nice of you. Okay. Yes. Now Darren's got a nice mixer. He's got it just to the right, to the left. To the left of him. Is it to the left?
Left of me.
Now, is that... Yeah. That's a digital output, isn't it, on that?
Yeah, it's a Mackie Pro 32. I think it's the third, isn't it? FX 3. So it's the third sort of incarnation of the... So it's a good mixer. I wouldn't say it's the best mixer. But it's using the...
Do you get all your channels digitally into your DAW from that?
Yeah, they only come out as a stereo pair though.
Okay.
That's the only problem. So I can't have all 32 channels separately via the USB.
Okay. So if you wanted to multi-track,
so it comes out as a stereo. Yeah, I have a stereo pair, and then it has a third and fourth as an auxiliary pair. So I think I can patch. So I sort of got 2 main channels, and then I'm sure it has got an auxiliary pair via the USB. Don't quote me on that because I've not tried it.
Okay. So if you wanted to multi-track, you'd have to either use your MX1 or you'd have to mute all the other tracks and do it sort of one by one through that.
Yeah, sort of Vol style type thing.
Yeah.
But for the way I work, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to have I think Andy would probably go that way, and I presume Jim is. But I don't need to have, for the way I work, I don't need to have multi-tracking as such, because you know I just use mine. I just use my studio as a sound source, and then everything gets put into the computer from there. So that's why I work in and out the box.
Yeah. Fantastic. Good. Right. Well, there you go. We kind of had a little sort of round trip and talked about studios and mixers and all sorts of stuff. It's good. We are going to start the main show in about a little bit over 10 minutes, 12 minutes or something, if my clock on my computer is correct. So bear us until then. When I do this pre-early show, I just want you guys to sort of remember that because of daylight savings, you guys have it, I don't. So when you guys flip back over to daylight savings again, which I think is around Easter time, isn't it? That you flip back over, March or just before Easter?
End of March.
Yeah. So it's a few months away. I will just keep going the way I am. So this big long pre-show will go back to what it used to be at 15 minutes. And that way I can stream the same time over here. I don't have to do anything sort of stupid here. But it's been good because I get to noodle and muck around with gear and stuff. One thing I am doing at the moment actually is I'll grab a couple of things. Do you guys see, actually, how can we do this? If I go to this, I'll use the PDZ camera. Now, if I move the PDZ camera around, you guys know that I use these little black square pipes. See that vertical black square pipe thing there? Right? You can see it. They are just, they're called connectors, and they've got little, so they're made out of aluminium, and they've got little plastic connections on them that don't require any screwing or drilling or anything, or glue or anything like that. And they make really, really great mounting gear. So if you want to put your cameras, see how I've got clamps on top? And you can see, oops, wrong way. You can see cameras mounted there and clamps and all sorts of stuff. And I'm just in the middle of doing one that goes from there all the way across the top of my Eurorack gear, which is just below, onto the right-hand side of my Eurorack gear here. So that's what I'm in the middle of doing right now. So today I went to the hardware store, as I mentioned before, to look at the wood, but I also grabbed a couple of those pipes, and you can see them just on the floor. You can see them just sitting on the floor there, ready to go. So the cool thing about it is you can put something like that together in about 5 minutes. You just literally just click, 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 and you stand it up on your desk. And then you've got an overhanging mounting gear for putting your cameras, or if you're not into videoing, you can just put microphones or things that you want to sort of lift up above your gear and get it out of the way. So they're a little bit ugly looking, but I've got another one right here in front of me. So all this gear in front of me that's holding my camera and my monitor and all that sort of stuff, lights, that is, in fact, I forgot to turn my light on. There you go, it's better. That's all done with the same thing, and they never fall over. It's amazing. Touch wood. So Connected is they're called, and I don't know if they're going to be the same name overseas, but I think they're an international company that do it. The other thing I was thinking of doing is, while we're talking, in that back corner where you see that back corner there where you see all the synths. Sorry, the fan is jumping into my mic. I'm thinking about putting a Jasper sort of 4-tier stand there instead of the desk. And I've had this kind of thought probably for the last few months, and see if I can get a picture of it for you guys.
I've been looking at so many of those myself, Ranz. Are you going for the one with the square bit at the bottom and the little cat?
I don't know if that's the same thing. I don't know if I can copy this link. This is going to be a nightmare, isn't it? Is that going to let me copy it? No, it's not. Okay, so let me just type this manually in. Sorry. It's on the Thomann. I think the only place you can get Jasper stuff is from Thomann, isn't it?
Jasper themselves.
Get it direct from Jasper's. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But I had big issues.
You can DV24/7, whatever they're called, Digital Village. They they stock them too, I think. But they're all
Not
about the same.
They don't stock many.
Yeah, one of those.
That's what I was looking at getting.
Coleman's got the best combination of stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Darren.
The width of that thing, because it's 4 tiers, so you've got the sort of the flat part down the bottom, and then you've got your 3 tiers above, and you can get more of those little mounting brackets separately, which I'll probably do because I've got smaller. I don't have all big long synths as well. I do, but now the only thing is, yeah, I know. And you gave me the idea of getting it. The only thing is that if I was to do that, one of the things I'm going to miss is having that desk there. So I do like to have stuff flat down on the desk. And I'm just wondering, I'm sort of putting it out to you guys, is there a solution where you can have the desk, but then have the Jasper sort of come up above it, maybe? Or is that out of the, yeah, there is. Thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Well, there's a few ways of doing it. One they actually do on the main Jasper site. They actually do one. It's very expensive though. Where it's like a square and it builds up like I've built this up here.
Yeah.
Or 2, you can buy the actual desk and then do what I do and build up any config you want, really, basically, above your desk. So whether you want it angled at about 45 degrees like that is, or I don't know, I can show you.
Yeah, I can see, because your back poles are vertical, whereas your front poles are 45 degrees. You can see.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was thinking of doing.
Yeah, you can do anything you want, basically. Yeah, there's no anything you want, Rans. The one tip I would give, though, is buy extra T-pieces. I haven't got one. Buy extra T-pieces.
Yeah.
But make sure you buy the ones that are separate, because they do them in two states. They do one where it's fixed, so you just slide it on, screw the Allen key on, job done. And they do one where it's in 2 pieces. I always get the 2 pieces one, because I can guarantee you'll do what I did when I first built it. Get everything on, decide to add an extra bit, but you can't get a T-piece on without taking the frame back down to put the T-piece on.
Yeah, because you can't slide it on.
If you buy the separated ones, you can just clamp it over and tighten up.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, don't do that. Unless you want to take everything back down again, which is...
Yeah.
I think they're about an extra 50p more, but I always buy the separated T-pieces.
Yeah, I'd get those.
I can build on in the future.
So they're kind of... I kind of like the idea of still having the desk so that I can put my smaller gear on, and then I'll... so one of the things I don't like with the current setup I've got behind me there is... I'm just using laptop stands, if you're wondering. So that behind me, they're basically just laptop stands. There's 2 on each desk. There's 2 desks side by side, by the way. And then I've got a IKEA shelf sitting on top of the laptop stands. And that, if I go and push on that, it'll bounce up and down. It's absolutely shite. So, and also you can see it doesn't show you from this angle very well, but you can see the MX1 and the Novation Peak side by side. They're sort of sitting up on a 45 underneath. When you're sitting there, you can't see the top of the Peak. You can't see half of the top of it because it's too low, because the shelf comes down. So that's completely unusable for me. So I'm going to have to sort something out for that, for sure. Woes of first world problems, hey?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I bought a lot of B stock keyboard stands like the one you were showing, 3 and 4, and then created from that the tube that's a 19-inch rack, which is 5 foot high. 5 foot high. I don't know. I can turn the camera around so you can see it. Actually, it won't come off. But it's 5 foot. It's like a box 5 foot high. Which
I've seen it.
I think you probably see it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
you probably see it on my videos. It's easy to show on the videos. But yeah, I just bought the B stock because they've got like little scratches on the frame and that's all. But you're never going to see the scratches, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and that was a lot cheaper.
I do like the idea. See, for the same reason that I like those rigging pipes that I was showing you before for the camera gear, I do like the idea of metal pipes and poles because they're so modular. They, like, if you build something out of wood, it's kind of, it's got to be done the right way. And then if you want to later on go and change it, it's already been sawn and drilled. And do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to have something. And the thing about the Jaspers is it's all modular. It's like scaffolding. You know, you can change it all.
Basically, yeah, that's what it is. It's thin aluminium scaffolding poles, basically.
Yeah.
With sort of plastic connectors.
Yep.
Or, well, hardened plastic, but yeah. So it's just so much easier. It's just that it works out expensive when you start.
Yeah, a bunch of chatties have
working
been
it out.
throwing their opinions in. The 2600 looks scary.
Scaffold poles and clamps. Yeah, but I know someone who did that Sasquatch using scaffold poles. It's very big and very heavy.
Very heavy.
And if you want to take your A-frame stand to a gig,
you have to hire the local weightlifter.
Scaffolders in person.
Got to hang out at the local gym and find a roid junkie to lift it for you.
it's true.
When they come up to the
actually
gig and
did
they see a
that.
scaffolding van outside.
But honestly, I do know somebody who did build actually all their.
I have seen it too.
Stands and frames and it was just out of scaffolding, all those planks of wood, the whole lot. I mean, it was really rugged, but bloody hell, you couldn't move it.
I mean, you can get secondhand scaffolding cheap from building wrecking suppliers most of the places, but I've seen how much scaffolding costs at hardware stores, and you might as well get the Jasper stuff. It's really quite inexpensive for what it is.
It's a lot lighter as well.
It's a lot lighter. A lot lighter.
Yeah.
But don't forget they have a few different sort of, because on scaffolding you've only got like your T pieces, and your corner pieces and stuff. But at least the Jaspers have got, like, you know, your pieces for your legs on your synth, you know,
the angle bits.
Yeah. Well, this mic, I don't know if you can see, this mic here is a Jasper mic. It sits on top of the A-frame to this side, so it sits on the top, plumbed in, comes straight down, and then this is another three-tier keyboard rack, which then I've done what you're going to do is extend it with bars and pipes to create, I think you can just see it in the background, these that are virtually almost vertical, so that everything's perfectly at face height. You see it, yeah?
Yep.
So even all this is all the Jasper sands cut up and connected. You'll still need a hacksaw.
Oh, I've got all that gear
as well.
Yeah, I've got all that gear. I'm good for that. All right, we should probably start the main show, guys. Yeah. We've been waiting, and now it's time. So let's do it. I really do need to change that intro. It is so cheesy. If you want to do one for me, go for it. Welcome, 2022, big hello. It's been a couple of weeks since we've streamed, and I hope you've all had a nice time away and spent some time with family and friends and enjoyed your season and New Year's. If you celebrate that, if you don't, that's okay. You know, we aren't discriminated here. Synth lovers are all synth lovers from all walks of the world, all corners. Here's everyone. Look at that. We're full gambit today. We've got a new guest today, Jim, and we'll go into sort of depth with him before. We had a chat to him before anyway, but Darren's here and Andy's here. So, and we've also got chatties here as well, and it's all lovely to see everyone. Nice big gambit of people in various formats. So why don't we start by saying a big warm welcome to our new guest, Jim, who's joined us for the first time. He's a virgin on the show, if you like.
It's been a while since I've been called that. But yeah. Very happy to be here. Really cool. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And you have a nice Christmas and New Year's, Jim?
Yeah, it was good. Very chilled. For saying that I literally moved house 4 days before Christmas. I've managed to get pretty sorted and managed to get my studio pretty sorted since then. So yeah, it's all good.
Oh, fantastic. And did you get any sort of major presents under the tree or anything like that?
No, I think I'm getting a bit too old for that. But yeah, maybe Well, this year I've got a big birthday coming up, so yeah, you never know. I might be treating myself to something. Yeah, in the summertime, all being well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it's really good to have you, and obviously we'll come back a little bit later, and we'll sort of share some of the stuff that you've been doing musically and with your part of the world. That's for sure. It's been awesome to have you. Also, we've got Darren, who we'll just talk to about his Jaspers. Big hello to you, Darren. Happy New Year and everything. So hope it's all been good.
Welcome, Jim.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been like I think a bit like Jim. Obviously, I wasn't moving house, so that's different. But yeah, just quiet and chill, and nothing. Just I wouldn't say it's just a normal day in my eyes, but there you go. Yeah, just chilled. And I think I've just seen someone say that this might fall on top of me. This Jasper stuff. There's no chance of that happening. Literally, there's a bar that runs from this section, which links the next section, which I've got an idea that I can actually put a Fuel and Euro rack right across there, angled towards me. But that said,
more sense.
I might even do a video actually, just show you around the studio very carefully. No, I don't think there'll be any
please do, Darren.
Sims.
You could put some on the roof.
I'll do that.
You could play like with your arms up and just touch the roof.
Well, I was going to get like a cockpit feeling, with one of those chairs that can just spin around like that, electric, and have everything just like.
You want one of those, Darren?
I mean, it'd be cool. Get one of those 360 cameras. You've seen those 360 cameras that people can do the virtual VR type stuff, and we can in the D.T.H VR.
Yeah, you never know. I might do that. And on the hair, a few people have said on the hair.
Yeah,
it wasn't my fault. It was Rave Day's fault because he got a bit mental with us when we was doing his album, and he said that I have to be purple. So,
right. We have a football team here in where I live that's purple, so you'll be making all those people happy. Anyway,
that's good.
How's Rave Dave going? Is he going good?
He's working hard. He's mental as usual. Just writing the album for this year, I think. Other than that, apart from causing havoc in the studio, yeah, he's fine.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully we get to see him soon because we haven't seen him for a little while. So yeah,
I'm sure he'll pop up at some point. I'm sure he'll pop up.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's Rave Dave, that is, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed there is still a slight glow at the bottom of your screen there. Things that are popping up.
It's not as bad, you see, because I've just been playing with the camera for the Jaspers, and now my knob's vanished.
Yeah, well, that's what all the girls said. Right, Brooksy, how are you going?
Oh, look at me! It looks like I'm sitting in a cloud. Good grief! Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, friends, Happy New Year, everybody, and Happy New Year, Jim. It's really good to have Jim on here. Yeah, it's really good to have it. I met up with Jim again for the first time in ages at Robbie's do in Bradford at the end of November. It was good to see him there, and Sasquatch actually was there too, and of course Robbie himself. But don't want to give anything away, but yeah, Jim used to be knocking around on the same scene that I was knocking around on way back in the 9 Sheffield with the band he was in. So we go back quite a long way, which is really quite nice. It's nice to be able to meet up again in this sort of way. It's fab. So welcome to the little gang, Jim. It's good to have you with us. And also, while I'm about it, chatties, I haven't said an awful lot, but Griffin in the chat is also an old Sheffield friend and former musical accomplice. So a big welcome to Grace. Good to see you here. Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Just to think, was you from Nottingham originally, Andy?
No, I was born in County Durham. I work near Nottingham.
What? So I've got Nottingham in my head. That was all. I couldn't understand. I was just saying that.
No, I work near
the
Nottingham.
other week has got the bells from Nottingham. It's got the from the church or cathedral in Nottingham.
I don't remember much about Nottingham. I remember the high street, and all the most of the buildings are white. Is that right?
Was Andy froze?
Andy's froze. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's about all I remember. They're all white.
I thought I just stunned him when I said that.
He'll come back. Don't worry about that. Restart your browser, Andy. That's always a good trick. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze, but it's weird. It's not even sneezing weather. Right. Okay. Big hello to chatties. I did go through most of you guys before, and I know there's a whole bunch more that have jumped in. So hello to you in general. Just if you've had a really, really nice Christmas and New Year's, let us know if you've got anything new that you want to share with us. Chuck it into the chat. And if you're lurking in the background watching this stream and you've never jumped into chat before, now's your chance. It's a new year. Let's try things new. Let's see if you can say hello to some bunch of friendly people we are. Anyway, good to see you. Okay, now there is our regular segments, which we'll get stuck into right now, and we'll start off the year with Funny Side. Here it is. Yes, meme section galore, and I didn't go to much effort this week to do these. Some of these are pictures, and I just thought they were worthy. Like, for example, this place. Some guy is a real muso, to use the term, if he's got a house that looks like this. What do you think, hey? Would you like to live there? Bump your head on the keyboards on the way in the door?
Oh, look at house.
It looks cool, I must admit. He's narrowed his buyers though down.
He has, yeah.
Definitely.
The neighbours might not like him. That might be a problem too. Noise and all sort of stuff like that. Although really big on the violin, or is it a cello? I don't even know what that is. It's kind of.
It could be minimalist inside. And
double bass.
Silence.
It could be a double bass, yeah. It could be like all soundproofed inside, and you can't even hear yourself scream. It'd be weird. One of those weird places, eh?
A bit like an isobaric chamber.
All right, we shall move on to the next one. The next one I thought was even more bizarre. This photo emerged of someone frying an egg on a synth. I thought, is Ken on the chat? I haven't seen Ken today.
I've not seen Ken in there. It's a CS80 that.
All right, so top 3 jokes about this particular image. I don't know where he poached his synth from. There's the first joke that came up. Be careful, you might fry your circuits, was the second joke. These are getting worse. Anyone else want to add one really pathetic joke in while I've got them? If not, we should move on. No one's that quick and witty, are they?
There's got to be a Vangelis joke in there somewhere.
I just want to know what he's going to do with the egg afterwards. You wouldn't want to eat it.
What do you normally do with eggs?
You wouldn't want to eat that. How long would it take? It would take hours to fry something like that on a. Anyway.
Depends
it's
how hot it is.
Look at it.
Yeah. Sunny side up. Yeah.
Who said he was frying it there? He's just fried it and then just hovered it over that.
Yeah, it could do. Yeah.
Oh, you cynic, Darren.
He could just be hungry while he's fixing the CS80. Just thinking to himself, I'll just pop this here. Yeah. God, this will make a lot of electronic repair people cringe when they look at that photo. So I'm just going to leave it on for another second longer, just for them. All right, next is this one. I just got my musician friend Get Better Soon card. He isn't sick. I just think he could get better. That is horrible, isn't it? Hey? Anyone right now is crying in their lunch or their cereal or whatever. Yes. And the last one is when you make your last payment on a synth that you don't even use that much. This is the look you give. Starting a new year, fresh with lots of cynicism and bad jokes. Okay, what was your favourite meme? I'll start with you, Jim. What was your favourite meme this week?
Oh, I don't know. Probably I did like the birthday card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
that's
not
my
a bad
vote.
idea, is it? You're probably going to use it, aren't you?
Possibly. I don't collaborate with too many people these days. Perhaps that's why.
Good one. What about you, Darren? What was your favourite? Let us know in the chat too,
I'd probably
chatties.
go with the I'd probably go with the birthday card.
The birthday card?
Yeah. And I did like the house, but I'd hate to be his agent if they say I want this house sold quickly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look, the agent might be amped up to sell that house. Anyway, Brooksy, what about you?
Oh, ba-dum. I think the one that made me chuckle the most was the card. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I did like the CSH. You could put a CSH on anything. It looks fab, doesn't it? So there you go.
Yeah.
The house, gorgeous. I could cheerfully live in that myself. But yeah, I think that card was funny.
I think it'd be a party house, wouldn't it? It'd be a house where people would rock up and you just party.
At least you won't have to worry about whether they got the address right. Just look.
Yeah. Everyone's telling me off.
Yeah.
Everyone's telling me off in chat because it's 10 seconds delayed about my crappy G's. Yes. Most people said the get well card, by the way, in the chat. So yeah, that was meme of the week. We'll call it meme of the week. Now, okay, moving right along, we do have news. So let's go through that. First news is a bit of information that we leaked. Oh, not we, but the internet leaked, I should say. It was me that leaked it. I think it was around about September last year at, was that September when we had the super booth? Whatever it was anyway. There was this Polyend, are they working on a new synth or a groovebox or something with a lot of colored lights and you can't even fit your big fat fingers on? I don't know, but it looks like this is actually really true because today or yesterday they actually sneaked another thing on their Instagram where they sneaked this photo that you're looking at and they quickly removed it. I don't know, maybe someone at Polyend wasn't allowed to post it and then someone said, nope, take it down. Luckily there was a few quick people who snapped a copy of the photo and then you're looking at it. Now, it is definitely a device that they're working on. But what is it, do you reckon? Is it a Deluge style groovebox? It kind of looks like that, doesn't it? With a sort of grid thing. Pad Matrix, it looks like it has... I kind of sat there and I thought, how many little pads are there? It looks like there's about 8 by 32, I think. I could be wrong. And... Electronauts forum picked this up as well. So it's not the next tracker and it's also not a synth is what we're hearing from Polyend. So they are very, very good Polyend at making sequences and I don't know if you guys remember, they collaborated with Dreadbox recently with this thing called the Medusa. Was it the Medusa? Yeah, the Medusa. And that was a really cool sort of marriage between two companies where you had a really good sequencer and you had a really good synth and being able to do the two together. It's kind of like what Roland did with Studio Electronics when we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, what do you guys think this could be?
Is that a single cable split into, is that a single cable split into two, isn't it? Like a jack split into two?
It looks like it is, yeah. And yeah, any thoughts, guys? I like little leaks.
Well, you said it wasn't a synth or a sequencer.
That's what they're saying. They're saying so not a tracker. They've already they love their Polyend tracker, so they're not going to be doing that again, or for a while anyway. And it's not a synth.
But it can still be a sequencer then.
Could be a drum machine. Could be a sampler. Could be a groovebox.
Could be a sampling drum machine.
It could be a doorstop. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway.
I'm probably going to... I'd lean to a Groovebox with probably all the stuff, you know, with might even have CV out on the Groovebox. Who knows? We don't know what's at the back.
Mm.
No,
they
interesting
combine
comment.
the,
There might be MIDI cables.
Yeah, they might be
Yeah,
MIDI.
that's what I was just about
That
to
might
say.
be
Yeah.
MIDI breakout. Yeah.
MIDI in and out. Yeah. It's really hard to see with this pixely, grainy photo,
Yeah.
but there looks like there's 3 rows of knobs as well. So 2, 4, 5, 10 knobs, and you've got some buttons on the top right hand corner. And Anyway,
It looks a bit cross between a circuit as well, doesn't it? That
a little bit like a deluge and a circuit, and
Yeah.
I'd sort of
it's probably
lean.
their version of something like that.
I'd lean towards like a Grooveboxy or a sampler or a drum machine or something, or maybe all 3, something like that.
Or everything covered.
Yeah, anything other than a synth and a tracker could be.
It could just be a MIDI controller.
It could be. It could be. I don't really
I'd
know what they would use that for as a MIDI controller, but yeah, it could be. We'll move on to the next one anyway. So the next one is Darren. You're going to be very happy about this because
I am.
one of your favourite companies has produced a new product.
No rude jokes, Darren.
Are we not getting any sound?
I'm not saying a thing.
I don't think we're getting any sound.
Oh dear.
Why we're not getting any sound?
Casper.
Oh, there we go.
He's got to get on the bench first.
I told you not to, Darren.
I know.
Right. There we go. Now, in the background, annoyingly, I've forgotten to turn off my effects. There we go. So you're probably hearing that as well. It wasn't as noisy as you thought. Anyway, so a new Bastel product. Do I have a picture? I do. We can put that over our ugly mugs. What is it? It's called the Casper Bastel Soft Top SP2. It's an organic sounding analog experimental synth that musically bridges the gap between melody and noise. As you saw, there was kind of like a recording sound processor part to it. So yeah. Now, let's get straight to the nitty gritty. It is available in February for a pre-order price of 561 and some change euros, including tax, or $5.99 US. It is basically a desktop or laptop type Eurorack modular type thing. It does. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. Okay, so it's a new development. In and outside, more sliders, big Eurorack compatible patch bay, sequencer and more. The core of the Soft Pop 2 is a mixture of unique analog and semi-modular synthesis, triangle core oscillator with PWM, pingable filter with pop cross mod and advanced unusual digital control. So if you know anything about the original Soft Pop, the concept of interplay between the controls is inspired by the iconic banjolin design by the Dutch synth genius Rob, now I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Hordijk. At the end, at each point, the small experimental synthesizer was drilled out and expanded. The difference in how you can interact with the engine is particularly big. The patch matrix with 37 points now has Eurorack sockets and no longer uses MIDI cables, for example. In addition to MIDI, you can also play the soft pop with Creative Feature Dance Sequencer. It is powered by an 8-step loop of notes, gates, and slide, aka patterns, 8 per bank, and it can also be played and chained in any order. There's a drone and effects processor in it. What else can I tell you? There's a switch for the VCA that turns into a drone synthesizer. Alternatively, you can use it as a crazy effects processor that takes external audio inputs. What else? There's a sequencer and envelope follower that you can add movement to that processing of that signal as well. There was a loop hop video on this thing as well, which probably would be better than what we just showed. I can't show the loop hop video because we'll get a copyright strike or ping, but I do recommend you go check out the loop hop's video because he does a really good job of it. Have you guys seen this? Who's seen this?
I can see it now.
Okay.
With my magnifying glasses, I think I will be able to use this on the park bench.
You love Bastel, don't you? You and Bastel must
hey,
you know,
we're going to do a park
skip
bench
through
gig.
the meadow. Okay, so nobody's heard of this except what the news sites are telling us. Yeah, look, I would say if you're into sort of new ways of making sound, this is probably
I do like it, actually.
a tool
I do
that
like
you could
it.
look at. I like the idea of it recording stuff and then mangling that up. For me, like something that is a little box that you can just put somewhere, you can quickly plug something into it or a microphone or whatever and record something and then mangle that. For me, things that make that sort of world of sound design easy is a good thing. Whether the interface itself is easy to follow or not, I don't know. It's not a very good picture, is it? It's a bit pixely. But there's a sequencer there. There's the controls, the sliders down the bottom, and it is a second iteration on this. So they've improved it somewhat. So has anyone ever seen the first one? I never actually even knew the first one existed.
I think Loopop did a video on the first one, actually.
Okay.
Ages ago. That's where I've seen it.
Well, anyway, that is the Soft Pop 2 or SP2. Anyone in chat? To see if anyone in chat's got one. Let's have a quick look.
Somebody said that they got the one. Oh God, this chat's going really quick, isn't it?
Oh no, it's going nuts right now. I can't even follow it.
Yeah, Royce Throwable. He said he's really getting into Bastel, Soft Pop 1, Castle 1.5, Micro Granny, MIDI Looper, and all those things. They're all cool little boxes, those, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know much about this Soft Pop thing, though.
Look, I think it's probably just one of those things that if you're into that sort of crazy sound design world, that might be right up your alley. I looked at the interface and I kind of went, oh, whoa, this is like, this is a bit crazy.
Park bench world.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah.
All those items.
What could possibly go wrong, Darren?
His friendship will go wrong. His Bastel friendship, that's what's going to go wrong.
Dave will be upset.
He would, yes.
No,
right, we should
move off the studio himself.
We shall move on. What else we got? We got a new guitar pedal from TC Electronic called the Infinite Sample Sustainer. I like these things. These are cool. So you guys are going to hear a whole bunch of guitar stuff because it's a friggin' guitar pedal company, but you're going to be able to use this stuff with your synths. That's where I want you guys to sort of think outside the square when you see this. Okay, so what is it? Basically, it's an infinite sample sustainer. Is kind of a sample looper in pedal format. It allows you to capture and sustain a moment of audio, which you then can layer, fade out, or make infinite notes and chords from. It's very compact. So it's a very, as you can see, very compact pedal. And what else? Gives you a bit of control. So you've got the decay, the level, the FX type. There's a bit of stuff there, latching, and you can use the momentary switch and the latching switch. And you can use it as a send and return as well. Now, if you want, it gives you a little bit more by, there's TC Electronics Hall and reverb algorithms, which you can turn on and off. And something about I don't really know much about the tone print technology with TC Electronic, but
tone prints where you can go online and they've got they're sort of like what do you call it? Like presets, aren't they? So if you have because I've got the
algorithms,
TC Electronic. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay, so you can set your pedal up and edit it and stuff.
Yeah, you can set an edit, or people can put their tone prints onto the site, and you can download famous tone prints from artists or whoever, and you can put it onto your pedal to use.
All right. Well, why don't we check it out?
Ever since our first product back in the 70s, TC Electronic has always been held in high regard when it comes to time-based effects like modulation, delay and reverb. Well, what if we told you that we've added a completely new effect to our family of time-based tone print pedals? Something we've never done before. Something that captures the perfect moment in sound and makes it last forever. Introducing Infinite Sample Sustainer. Infinite lets you sample a snapshot of the sound from your guitar and sustain it indefinitely, creating an ambient pad that you can play over and stretches out for as long as you need it. Sustain any note or chord at the press of a foot switch and set the mood for your sonic soundstage. Infinite has several default modes straight out of the box.
So it's basically a drone pedal.
It's a freeze machine.
It's a freeze machine. Yep. Yeah, but I can see a lot of synth people wanting this because it's very, very compact, and if you just want to like live gigs and stuff like that, you want something to freeze sound really, really quickly. That to me would be something very, very handy, and you could just pipe a synth through it, freeze it, and then pipe that through some beautiful effects. It's got some effects on it too. You could use them, but Big Sky or Black Hole or something like that. And you're going into drone territory. Where's Popes? Is he in the chat? Popes would love this thing. He's disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I alone in thinking that was a terrible advert for it though? It really didn't.
I warned you.
Anything off. It's,
no, you're not alone, sorry. It wasn't the best advert.
No, David Surchek said he'd gone to sleep.
It was terrible. I thought I was watching one of those Shreds videos for a moment there, where they just.
It's a different world, guitar world. I will say. I did want to say good day to Scotty though. It was very friendly at the start. Hi, I'm Scotty.
Yeah.
Who were we like, meeting Scotty or selling a pedal? Which one?
I am first and foremost a guitarist rather than anything else, to be honest. The actual pedal, I think I could, really sort of see a place for that. Although I do have other pedals that allow me to sort of, sustain fairly sort of indefinitely. So, for instance, I've got the Meris Enzo, which can create synth tones that will just sustain forever. To the point where it can actually be a problem, and you're like, God, will this note ever die? But yeah, so
people could say that about my album.
But I'm sure. But yeah, interesting, but terrible.
Fantastic. I actually completely agree with you, Jim. I did warn you at the start. I said there's a very you know, we've got to think outside the square here. This is not what you try and think of this in the synth world. Mind you, they could have actually showed the sound from the pedal a lot more than what they did, and it was very dull underneath the guitar.
Even Guitar World, they could have done a hell of a lot better. It's just, shocking.
Yeah. Are the chatties agreeing with us? So are they throwing their guitars at the screen in disgust? See, RC505 can do something similar. It can definitely. And like there are other pedals that have got freezes in them, like the Big Sky, for example, can do stuff like that too. And also, if you're into Eurorack you've got clouds, you can freeze anything that's going through clouds and create drones from that as well. So there's plenty of examples of it. I think even some of the... do the NPCs have a freeze in them? I don't think I've ever checked that. That'd be a cool little feature for an NPC to have, wouldn't it? Some sort of freeze. I thought they did have a freeze in one of the effects. You know, was it the air effects or was it the Akai effects? I thought there was a freeze in there somewhere.
The only way to freeze is an MC303.
Oh yes, you have to check out his video on freezing MC303s.
That's a freeze.
Yeah, the MX1 can do a freeze, can't it, Darren?
It can, yes. It very much so can.
And that's how you got your MC303 frozen, if I remember rightly.
It was, yes. It was.
All right.
Definitely how I froze my C303.
It was definitely worth showing the pedal, I thought, because
took it out the freezer.
There are some people that would like something small that doesn't take up a lot of desk space or foot space or whatever you want to call it, and that would probably be right up their alley. Anyway, we move back along. We do have something else to show, which is this. Boom! Let's get the big boys out. You've probably seen this before, and there's also a smaller version of this that you can buy at the moment. But this is the LE. This is the WMD Performance Mixer LE edition. Now, what's so important about this is they've actually re-released it. It's for a limited time. What it is, it's a 10. Is it a 10-channel mixer? I think it is. Where did I get the information from? Hang on a sec. I do have. Let me take that off and go to here. I do have the website up, so we can have a little bit of a look here.
Whoa!
There's the price. Yeah. This is.
It was going to go. Yeah, I've seen it before.
This is US dollars. Oh, but the smaller one is not that much cheaper. So this is actually for what you get on. This is actually not too bad.
This is where your modular gets expensive.
There you go.
No, you just buy a different mixer. You don't need that.
Well, Andy, what did I buy recently, and how much did that cost me?
You bought that the feedback one, didn't you?
Yeah.
250 quid, probably. Yeah, something like that. It's £250. I mean, I told you, I bought the Tesseract system. It made it's good audio, but it's got all the functionality and features. It works a treat, and that was about just shy of £200, and I've got essentially 4 mono, 4 stereo, 2 auxiliary sends, mute, Q. I haven't got any LEDs, although you can get those as an additional module. I just an astronomical amount of money. You think if you're going to buy an analog mixing, the size of analog mixing desk, you could buy a 32-channel Mackie for them.
You can, yeah.
I'm sorry. I think. Well, quiet down. I think I may not cross that it's that expensive.
There are a couple of things.
Sorry,
that's okay.
I'm going to rant.
And it's sucking out
I actually
50 milliamps.
I actually agree. We'll bring this picture up again because there are a couple of things on this that your Mackie mixer or whatever you want to call it won't do.
Yeah, I can see
but
the controller panel.
Yeah, you've got controller pans and all sorts of stuff. But the basics of the mixer itself, yeah, you could do this definitely in any which way. You could buy a Behringer mixer for very, very little money that would do most of what this can do. However,
for a while,
what this does have is there is some beautifulness in the electronics in it. It's not just basic electronics that's mixing. There's some nice electronics about the actual quality of the mixer itself and how they've actually engineered that. So just like when you go out and buy a cheap mixer versus a more expensive mixer, you'd expect the quality, you know, of the electronics and how it's treating the audio. Like, for example, you don't want to have bleed across the channels and things like that. Cheaper mixers will do that. That sort of stuff you're looking at with this. However, the CV control over gain, level, and pan, and aux send for both channels is pretty cool, which means that you can start mucking around with automating those things. And that's something that I think is going to, I mean, I'm kind of into the sort of matrix stuff now, as you guys know, but I like to be able to automate stuff. And that's one of the things I love about Eurorack, because you've got, it's basically anything can plug into anything is kind of the whole world of it. The other cool thing about it is you can use the channels as VCAs. You know, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do this with. So it is pricey, but it does have nice aux sends and returns. It has potentially 10 channels. If you look at the 6 monos, the 4 true stereos, if you want to add the sends and returns as well. Anyway, just thought I'd let you guys know there's a lot of people out there that really do rate the WMD Performance Mixer. I know quite a lot of people in Eurorack world.
This is for the pure modulist.
Yeah, they do rate this mixer. And the fact that this is like the, you know, the big expanded version, they don't usually make this, they make a smaller one. So that will appeal to people that are like loving this stuff. But yeah, I'm very fat and happy with my feedback module mixers. I've got 2 of them. The 6 channels plus the 2 stereo returns on it is well good money for the price, based on the Boss BX as well. And Andy, as you said, you're happy with yours. So there's plenty of options, you know, out there. But there, it's available, and that's what we're doing on the show. What are the chatties saying? The sliders better be really good, says Ken. Yeah, they might be gold-plated, I don't know. No, they are. I've used a WMD somewhere, I can't remember where it was, and I did like the sliders. My mixer that I've got doesn't have sliders on it. Mine has pots, and I like the fact that it's got pots on it, because I tend to be someone who doesn't like to take up a lot of space in my rack, and pots take up less space than sliders. And I don't want a small slider, so I actually do like that. I'm not a big fan of mixing so much the traditional way in Eurorack, if that makes sense. Like, if I want to mix the traditional way, I'll be doing that on a proper mixer or in a DAW, like with virtual mixing. So yeah, you could buy Sasquatch could buy a really good synth for that price, or you could buy a lot of synths for that price. Yeah. And I don't know how true this is. There is a rumor that Behringer are going to make a Eurorack module mixer. I don't know how true that rumor is, but there's been a lot of people suggesting it to them. They make mixers, right? They make Eurorack. So you'd think that would be something that they could do without having to copy anyone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the product that they could bring out that's not copying anyone.
They still might copy, though.
Yeah,
just to keep,
we're probably waiting for this.
Alley work. Yeah, so, and now we can copy it.
What would be nice?
All along, we had it already, but we needed something to copy.
What would be nice is if they made like a Eurorack module cut down version of their X32 or something, you know, that has the digital sort of features of it. So, because a lot of the Eurorack mixers aren't digital; they're analog, and they're analog for a reason. But it's nice to get some digital into your Eurorack as well. Anyway, we digress. That is news for the week. What was your favourite product this week out of all that stuff? The Bastel, the pedal from TC Electronics, the mixer, or the leak from Polyend? We don't even know what that product is. That could be your favourite.
I'd say the Bastel, because out of all of them, it's something different, and whether you like it or not, it's okay. I mean, the pedal, like Jim says, and it might be all right, but there is other things out there that does similar or if not the same. And the mixer, well, you've got to be a proper modular geek to be wanting one of them, especially it's limited as well.
You also got to be rich.
So, yeah, I'd go with
Yeah.
rich and all. Well, let's put it this way: you won't be trying to cram that into a small little skiff, will you? Because you'll have a proper wall full of it if you're into that stuff. So me the Bastel.
We always paint the picture of the rich yuppie guy with the Lamborghini rocking up to the music shop, putting his mixer in the back seat, driving home. That's him. Yeah, that could be you. You could be watching the show right now, and I've just insulted you.
As you get a reply now.
Yeah, right.
No, I like WMD. They make some really, really good modules. I'm only joking around, and please don't become a Karen after these comments of mine. Andy, what about you? You got a favourite?
Well, I'll have to go with the Bastel as well, really. Although it's actually quite an expensive box. Don't think I'll be rushing out by. So yeah, that's the Bastel. I thought was the most interesting of the bunch. I mean, that WMD mixer is absolutely brilliant. I mean, fantastic. But everything that Darren said, it's for Colin Benders, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think he got sick recently, didn't he, Colin? Big shout out to Colin if you ever. I don't think you never watched this show. You'd never watch this show. But yeah. And Jim, what about yourself? You're not really into Eurorack, and you're not really into other stuff. And we already heard your comment about the pedal, so
yeah,
it doesn't leave much, does it?
It's not for me.
No, not really. I have to say the Bastel does look interesting though, and for the sort of thing that I'm into. So I've got a number of circuit bent keyboards that I use to sort of create some more interesting sounds. So something like that would, fit that sort of ethos that I'm into for creating unusual sort of sounds in unusual ways. But this is it. I'm not going to go Eurorack. I just got kids and stuff that need to eat. And
exactly. Don't do it, mate. Don't do it.
And you've just seen the price of a mixer.
And you just saw the mixer price. Yeah, exactly. Mind you, though, as Ben said in the chat, if you do like Lamborghinis, you could always buy a Lamborghini tractor. If you've ever watched Jeremy Clarkson's farm show on Amazon Prime, that was hilarious. Jeremy Clarkson starting up a farm. Who would have thought? And buying a Lamborghini tractor. I mean, of course, that's what he bought.
Nice. The second series is out soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
good to see the chatties getting involved. Sorry, I didn't catch that. It was broken. Say that again.
Is beer?
No, didn't get it.
I don't know if you've seen any of those. I'm not.
You're gating. You're like a trance gate right now.
He's put one on. He's forgot.
Norman Collier.
Fair enough, mate.
He's flipped the gate, hasn't he? So when it's silent, it's open.
yeah. He's censoring himself. I'm sorry, Andy. It's not my fault. I promise you. If I could give you better internet, I would. Shall we go to this part of the show, which is Price Watch, which we haven't done for a while? Yes. Scams? No, maybe. I don't know. Are they scams? Who knows? Who knows? But let's start with this one. Make that a little bit bigger. Can I make that bigger? I'll go over that. Go there. Oh. This is Australian dollars, so I do apologise. Halve it for pounds-ish. It's about 70% for US. Anyway, 82,000 Australian would probably buy you a house somewhere here. Somewhere. Not very good somewhere, but somewhere. My God, there's some nice stuff there, though. You've got the digital cassette recorder from Roland. Geez, that'd be worth a bit just on its own, seriously. Actually, instead of showing you that stupid graphic, why don't I can actually show you the listing. Oh, look at that. We can do the listing. And we can even zoom in on photos. Brilliant. So what do you got? The MC4. This thing is made of gods and queens, and out of this world. And you've also got the little interface on the right. Is it the CP16 or something on the? I can't even read it.
CV interface.
Yeah. Someone would definitely lust over this. Definitely. Oh, there you go. It's called the OP8. There you go. CV interface. OP8. Interesting. I've never actually seen that.
It's designed to work with the System 100, System 100M, the System 700. It was designed to work with all of those. Don't think it would work very easily with a Jupiter 8, unless it's got a DCB bus on the back, which it might. It'll be quite funky. I mean, it would work. I'm pretty sure it would work with a modern Eurorack system. It's just a CV sequencer and interface. I'm sure Human League. I think Dare was basically created on one of those, and I think it was. Come on, chatties, tell me whether I'm right or not. I'm pretty sure that Human League. Who was it that produced that album? I've forgotten his name now. Martin Rushent. Yeah, I think that's what Martin Rushent was using.
Okay. Well, that one's in Greece.
MC4.
So maybe Dreadbox might want to buy it.
Behringer, then gives a clap.
Oh, Marcus might buy it. Is Marcus on the channel? Sometimes he drops in.
Yeah, Marcus is in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, Marcus might want to buy it. It's down the road, Marcus. It's in Giannitsa. I don't even know how to say that. I've probably completely bodged that, as I usually do. You're the linguist, Mr. Brooks. You should be able to pronounce that. Giannni. Boom, boom. Yes. There you go. Marcus has just jumped in. Yay! Not you, Marcus Fuller. The other Marcus. Marcus Egg. Marcus Fuller.
Marcus.
Back in your box, Marcus. No, just g'day, Marcus. Yeah, but I mean, you're probably right. Like that stuff was probably more suited for the modular stuff that Roland were making at the time. Those MC4s were fun. I mean, like, dreary fun, but they were fun. You could program sequences. Yes. Anyway. Roland Jupiter 8 for £40,000. It's getting nasty, isn't it? We better get back to more of them. So, what about this one?
PPG thing. No, Lexicon.
This is a Lexicon 480L plus I don't know if it's Lark, but isn't that the little programmer thing?
Yeah, the programmer.
Yeah.
It sits on your mixer.
Sits on your
SSL desk.
Yeah, they're redoing.
That's right.
They're redoing these digital things now. I know TC Electronica are doing something that's like a digital programmer for one of their effects. I forget what it's called, but it's actually really cool. I've seen someone on my Facebook. I forget who it is. Bought it recently and was showing it off. It's actually a really cool thing. Anyway, that is probably a lot of money for that. I don't know if you would say it was super rare, but yeah. I don't know if it's $6,900 US worth. You can get it if you're in Nashville, Tennessee. There's probably a lot of that stuff in Nashville, Tennessee. That part of the world.
I think I'll give Valhalla DSP my $50 instead, to be honest.
Yeah, you probably don't even need that. You can probably go with the free thing that he's just recently released. Yeah, it's pretty good anyway. What else we got? We got the. By the way, these are brought to you. These last two are brought to you by Andy Joyce. So the Lexicon and this one. So Synth Addict is Andy. Metasonics S1000 Wretch Machine. I don't even.
Wow.
What is this thing? Sold as is. Derek's Gear Garage.
You'd have to, wouldn't you?
What is it?
It's in the garage. It's yellow and red and blue. It's
It is.
Yeah, they started
It's like you've got a
Michael Wasp
Ludo
and then
set.
ran out
What
of
it-
knobs.
Is that Japanese or Korean writing on the left?
That's mental.
What is that?
I don't know, but we all want one because we don't know what it is.
Max said it's unusable noise. Yeah, see, that's what we need, more of that. A pedal that does nothing and unusable noise. There we go.
I just do that all the time.
Anyway, and this one was brought to us by Darius, who's in, doesn't usually jump on the streams, but he watches the replay. So big hello to you, who usually hangs around in the Discord channel. I'll share the link to that in a sec for you guys.
Holy cow! I threw one of them in the bin.
These are just cartridges, guys. Come on, this is US dollars. This is getting stupid. I think there might have been a typo.
I did.
Surely this is a typo.
Years ago, I went to a car boot sale and I ended up picking up. I can't remember. It was a Roland canvas, I think. And
Yeah,
I got a cartridge like that.
yeah.
It's before I got into music, and then I didn't know what to do with it, and then I just been in it. But I kept it now. Look.
Yeah. You've like paid the mortgage off, and now you can buy the Lamborghini. You now can buy the Lamborghini.
And then get me mixer from a modular WWM.
And you can get your Bastel. Yeah, you're all good.
See,
Yeah,
if only you could go back in time.
if only. Yes, you'd buy Apple shares, and you'd buy this. I actually have one of these, which is why I'm showing this. I was talking about it in the.
No, you're rich.
Yeah, I'm rich. I'm definitely not rich. They're not worth that much. But yeah, that is absolutely crazy. What are the chatties saying about it? Oh my God, let's go find one in the cupboard. I've got one. It's like people who had Bitcoin 10 years ago are looking for their Bitcoin now that they lost. They got a free Bitcoin in a party that they went to, and they're trying to find it because they chucked it at the bottom of the wardrobe. Is that the Discord? Yeah, that is the Discord link if you're wondering. I do Discord. It is free. It is not a scam, even though this is the scam section. But yeah, Discord is good.
That's it. Poorly scams up.
Discord is good. Follow us during the week. Continue the conversation. It is a very good Discord server out of a lot of them. So yeah, cool. There you go. What was your favourite scammy, pricey thing this week? Who wants to go first?
I want the Wretch machine just for the name.
Yeah, what is that?
Well, it looks cool, doesn't it?
What is that?
A Wretch machine.
I don't even know what that is. Can someone explain what that is? I'm actually wanting to know. I'm going to have to Google it.
You've
now.
not lived Ranz.
I know, I haven't. Yeah, Wretch Machine. Nightmare at Roxby with Metasonic. Yeah, go first YouTube video. We should play it. God. Sound on Sound reviewed it.
Is it?
It's a tube station. I don't want to. It's like a massive, huge Sound on Sound. You know, you read the Sound on Sound article, you've got, hang on a minute. I need to go and have a little sit down and read this article. It's one of those. Yeah, I haven't got time to read that. What about you, Andy?
What about me?
What about me?
Are we still on scams?
Yeah, we're on scams.
It was silly. That thing that you were looking at, I'm afraid it all died. So I went and switched everything off and I switched it back on again.
Oh, okay.
Are
we supposed to feel sorry for you?
Still looking like I'm. Yes. Yeah. That Wretch machine looked amazing, though, didn't it? I have no idea what on earth it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jupiter 8, silly money.
Yep. Silly money.
I'm just gutted over the card, the Roland card.
I'm gonna have to play this video. I really don't even care if it's gonna send me a copyright strike. Bugger it. This is the Wretch machine.
It fits in that in a track. That's great.
modular wasp.
Whoa!
It's a fart machine.
Like,
Always makes me think there's something wrong with the cable.
It's all about distortion and overdrive and mangling that way.
Retching things out.
Retching it, yeah. Synthetics in the chat, he said, most Metasonic stuff has a lot of distortion and vacuum tubes and crazy names. Yeah, there you go. And Adozee said, a modular wasp.
there we are. Probably.
So now we know what it is. Well, we kind of do anyway. Cool. Right. Okay. We by the way, I do apologise this week, but I don't have a video prepared for Name That Synth section. I haven't had a chance to do it. So there will be one next week. It is the first show for the year anyway, and I did have a couple of people offer to do it, but that never sort of came to about. So we just ran out of time. But what I do need to do is we do need to say a big hello to Jim's, because it's new. And Jim, have you got a Bandcamp or what should I bring up on the screen? Do you want to post something in?
Best to direct people to my website, which is jamesglew.com. So that's jamesglew.com. And then I've got stuff on Spotify and iTunes, Apple Music, all the usual ones.
Brilliant. Let's do that. So walk us through. You've got the mic, and I will pop your website over. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so that particular track is quite dark sounding. I've actually got my daughter recorded on that, sounding scared. It's quite a sort of, and I actually do some singing on that, which is like the first time I've done vocals in literally forever. That was good fun. But yeah, so like you alluded to earlier, me and Andy actually go sort of way back, sort of with a shared history in Sheffield. So we were both part of the same sort of techno scene there in the 90s. In fact, I think on Andy's YouTube channel, you can actually see me dancing in the audience to one of his live shows. I'm sure it's me. But yeah. But yeah.
Do you want me to? Do you want me to play any of these?
Oh, can we have 303 Hopscotch? I don't think I've heard that one. That's that.
303 Hopscotch.
Said Unwanted Lullaby, but yeah, go for that if you like.
Well, we'll do Unwanted Lullaby because it is his. And then we'll do yours next. Beautiful. And now we'll do the 303 Hopscotch. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Ironically, no 303 in that bit.
Yeah. Is it just random how it picks it, is it? I've always wondered if it does that. Really nice looking website, mate. A few people in the chat have been saying similar things.
I'm loving all the artwork.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And I like how we're scrolling through the different sections. It actually changes up the top. So you can actually go straight to those sections, and it will scroll to it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very clever.
Do need to update it and stuff.
Should we have a quick look at you jamming here, or What do you want to do?
Yeah, cool.
Which one?
Either's good. Probably the top one is the gig that I played recently in North Wales.
All right, let's do that.
So it's like,
Is it going to let me go full screen? No.
although the sound's not very good because it's just recorded on the phone rather than actually sort of the outputs.
Whereabouts in North Wales?
Colwyn Bay.
Ah, right.
But yeah, this shows off the Otto Bit Junior a bit when the beats come in.
Fantastic. Well done, Jim. That's really, really cool.
Cool.
And I've just put the link to your website in the chat as well, so people can venture across to that later. JamesGlew.com it is, if you're wondering. And it's links to all of his YouTube, his Spotify, his iTunes, Instagram, all sort of stuff. You can even send him an email. So how long you been venturing around the world of music?
Right, well, I started playing guitar at 15, and then one of my school friends, when I was about sort of 16, 17, had a Commodore Amiga and like a Akai synth and a couple of other bits and bobs, and I was just and a copy of Med on the Amiga. And I just started messing around with stuff like that. And so since about the age of 17, I've been making music, sort of on computers. So I went from the Amiga to Atari ST, and that's kind of like when I was in Sheffield. And I was in this band called Outsect that Andy will tell you about. We used to go on stage, there's three of us, and we had these like praying mantis heads. And we used to play around clubs around Sheffield and stuff, and played like the Octagon supporting Cole Cox and stuff, like big laser show, and it's fantastic. And we set up a little record label, got lottery funding for that, and then from there I sort of that kind of sort of fell apart. Eventually, people went different ways. And then I started making music with another friend of mine under the name of Dirty Blue Jean. And that was quite interesting. Got some licensing deals with that, and a bit of airplay and stuff. That was really good fun. And then it's had children. Everything got put on the back burner for a bit, and then sort of in the last sort of 7 or 8 years, I've been sort of more properly back into it. and yeah, writing stuff solo, and yeah, really enjoying it.
Fantastic.
I mean, I don't do it for, I do it just because I love creating this sort of music. I have a day job that keeps my head above water, and I'm really enjoy that. So I don't have ambitions to do this anymore professionally. It's just really for the love of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It looks really, really good. How many albums have you got so far? Is it all just single releases, or have you got some albums? Or
yeah, the first thing I put out was an EP, a 4-track EP, and then I've just been sort of putting singles out since then.
Yeah.
Earlier stuff, we put out some EPs. One of them surprisingly goes for about 90 quid a copy now. One thing I did under the name of Dan Tian, which was more sort of breakbeaty drum and bass thing, which I can't believe. It's possibly because I actually took most of the copies to the tip. But yeah.
Oh no.
So it's quite rare. I've got an absolute mint unplayed copy as well. So, but yeah, it's quite funny that it's so sought after, this EP that I did.
wow,
yeah, really bizarre.
That's really cool.
Quite funny.
Really, really cool. Well, it's been awesome getting to know a little bit about you, and definitely checking out your website is really, really cool. I mentioned before
Can I just jump in a sec, Ranz, if that's all right?
Of course you can.
I did see in the chat somebody mentioned a video of Outstack. I was going to ask Jim if he knows about that. I just seen a video. Any knowledge? Because if we can source it and find it on you, it would be great.
That would be awesome.
Outsects in their insect heads were a sight to be. It was an amazing thing.
Well, if you find it, send it my way.
I've got some photos, but I don't have any video. I'd have to dig the photos out.
If you do find it, send it my way, and we'll show it next week on the show. That's for sure. Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Now, before we go any further, I do want to, Darren, did you want to sort of let people know what's happening with you? You had a recent release that I sort of came across since the Christmas show. There was 2 weeks gap, and I'm pretty sure you sent something out that I got a message from through Bandcamp.
Yeah, I just put that single out that was Before the Rain. I just put it out so if anyone wants it, can have it on Bandcamp. They don't have to pay for it; they can just download it. It was just something I was doing for New Year whilst working on the special stuff for people who've bought stuff of mine. They'll be going on a trip this year, so they're getting the Hubble remixes, but that's going to take them into quite a few other places. So that's for the people who've bought stuff. So yeah, but I was just that Before the Rain. I think Andy clicked, but I never said it was Suzanne, by the way, Andy.
Is he
and also what I was saying. Is he there?
Oh yes, I know what you mean.
Don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
well, no, you didn't say anything. I made an assumption.
Yeah, and it was a good assumption. But also the bells on air are from Nottingham. That's why I was asking whether he came from Nottingham. That was the
right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Well, what is in the pipeline, Mr. House? Is there anything coming up in the next? Because you've been releasing stuff like crazy. Like we're all put to shame about the speed of stuff you're releasing, mate.
Yeah, there's lots of things. Like I say, I'm doing stuff for the people who've bought me stuff at the moment. I'm working on that. Rave Days album will be out in the year. You'll like that. And another, like I say, it's a bit of a journey. So the 21 album, it's like it's gonna morph and become the 22 album at the end of this year. And there's gonna be stuff in between it. So yeah, you just have to watch this space or keep an eye on the Bandcamp. Even if you don't have to listen to just follow on Bandcamp so you can keep an eye on, because there'll be things released on there that only the fans will know about. So because it won't all be on YouTube. Just the tracks that I put on YouTube are just stuff that I'm writing every time I get a chance. But yeah, I think Inverted Ports wanted me to put out the Spirit Guide that I released on YouTube about 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm doing an EP for that, so he'll be getting that out because it'll be parts 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, good. Yeah, do that. That was good, that one.
And yeah, well, there's parts 1, 2, and 3 coming for that. And another part of the 21 album, the Hubble is Watching remix is that'll also lead you into a sort of small album to do with James Webb, because it's all very spacey. You're probably getting that riff, other than Rave Dave's album. So there's lots. You just have to keep an eye out, and I'll put it up on YouTube, and and you on Bandcamp will get messages and stuff. So yeah, just keep an eye out. Like I say, I'm not asking you to buy anything, so don't worry about it. It's just the fact that the people who had bought something, I thought it was best to give them something back that only they will have. So
yeah,
that they'll be getting stuff through the air.
Yeah, cool.
You know, little EPs, little bits that other people can hear. Say, like I said, the Hubble is Watching. People have heard it off the album, but the people who've spent something with me, which is really kind of them, they'll be getting like remixes of that, which is going to lead them into some. You're going to go on a trip that's going to lead you into some like little EPs that no one's going to know about of space and stuff. So that's all interesting. But anyway, enough about me.
Yeah,
my day.
No, that's fine. It's everyone's day. Of course it's your day.
Getting carried away there.
Yeah, that's okay. We like what you have to say, and we like your music too. So that's good. Speaking of music, and if you were sort of sleeping over the last couple of weeks, I did also manage to do something musically over the Christmas break. So I finally got off my butt and decided to finally release an album, which was well overdue, well overdue. A lot of the tracks on it I had written many months ago, and it was just time to put them all together and put them on an album. If you haven't heard of it, it's called Significant Bit. It is on Bandcamp, so it's just ranzee.com Bandcamp. I'll put it in the chat in a sec. But there it is there. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anyone from China who would be able to manufacture a breadboard in the format of a cassette that would still be able to play the cassette at the same time. Putting pins through cassette tape probably doesn't work. But anyway, it was a good little idea. The whole point of the album, I guess, is Significant Bit is a play on words. As you guys know, they use it in engineering. They use it in things like MIDI. And I did a significant bit of work to produce this album. So, you know, it is what it is. In terms of tracks and stuff, there's 13 tracks on there. You're more than welcome to go and have a listen on Bandcamp. So it is just this address here. I think I've typed it right. I've got my glasses on. There is a limited edition cassette. It is not the same as the breadboard, unfortunately. It does look like this that you can get. I will be making them here locally. And there is also a limited edition compact disc if you're into that sort of digital stuff as well. People have already been buying them, so that's really appreciative as well. So yeah, do go check that out. A lot of the tracks you would have heard bits and pieces on from just being part of the show. So the end track that I do when I finish the stream is called Cosmos. That's on there. Part of the intro's on there. Okay, so the issue I've got at the moment is with postage. So unfortunately, the postage is nasty, and anything coming out of Australia or going into Australia is really expensive, and it's all to do with COVID. So once that postage stuff stops being a dickhead, I can reduce the price of postage. But unfortunately, at the moment, it's really expensive to post stuff. I don't know why. Just how it is. It's easy to get things here, but it's not easy to get things out of here. But anyway,
there's a special island, isn't there, Ranz?
There is. Oh yes, where things just go missing, and all your socks and everything. I have no idea what's going on with postage. It's crap. It's absolutely crap. But yeah, please, if you do like sort of how would you call that sort of music that I do, Andy? It's probably more sort of loungy
Mixed
sort of,
electronica.
yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, there are quite a few sort of familiar little bits in it when you're listening through it. It's a good listen. Definitely listen. I've had it on in the car, going to and from work. Yeah, it's good stuff, folks. Get it bought.
Beautiful. And so the good news about that is once you actually finish an album, it does pave the way to keep working on the stuff that I've got underway. And one of the tracks I've been working on for about 12 months. I may not even release it, but anyway, we'll see what happens. So yeah, big thanks for all the people that have supported me so far. Thank you, Daniela, for the €2. We will definitely have a beer. I don't know if you can get a beer for €2 in Australia, but definitely you could probably get a beer in Romania for that. That's for sure. But thank you very much. We take anything here. Beautiful. So yeah, tell us about I'm talking to the chatties here. So tell us about your plans. If you've got albums that you've released during the New Year's, or if you're just about to release one or anything like that, tell us about yours. We can always share the love on the show. I like to do this. So if you want to come on like Jim has, you can also come on as well and show your wares. If you do, just let me know. The easiest way to do that would be, I always say Discord. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Discord. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with it. There's the address again.
Well,
you get on there. Or if you don't like doing that, you could just ping me via any of the millions of different socials that I'm sort of hanging out on. So you will be able to, find me those ways. That's if you want to sort of get on the show, or if you even just want to give yourself a plug. There's a lot of you guys out there. I know, like looking just in the chat room, all of you guys are musically inclined. So I just, like, for example, I just was watching Lisa's video the other day. It was awesome. So, Lisa makes some really, really good stuff. So that's Inky, if you're wondering who Lisa is. And all of you, I think at Ampski Adam was doing some stuff musically recently, which was pretty cool. So I think I remember watching that. So yeah, get on out there and get your stuff recorded somehow. That would be the advice. What do you reckon, Jim? Press record, eh?
Absolutely. I've just joined the Discord now as well.
Oh, have you?
On the
Fantastic. It gets quiet, it gets busy. It's one of those things. Don't forget that we're opposite sides of the world, so people are awake when I'm asleep, and vice versa. But there's a lot of stuff that happens in between the show that happens on Discord. So, and we sometimes refer to it on the show, and so you'll probably go, that's right, we were talking about that on Discord. So it's a good thing. It is a good thing. Enough plugging of Discord. So Daniela's on there. She just posted a link to a YouTube video on there, so you can go check that out. And she's been busy doing some stuff, so you can find out. She does share her YouTube channel and things like that on there. You can check out what she's been up to. Some very interesting orchestral type, modern orchestra. What would you call it? Sort of folk orchestral. It's really good, actually. Very, very good, high quality stuff. I really enjoyed, actually. Different to my sort of type of music, but when I listen to music, what I do for myself doesn't necessarily mean I don't like anything else, because I tend to be sort of across a lot of genres. When I listen to music, I really have a very broad range of listening taste. Except for hip hop. Sorry, hip hop people. I just don't like it. It all sounds the same.
Come on. Yeah, the mid 80s was all right.
Maybe. you can have that, Darren. I'll let you have that.
I've been watching a lot of OMD, actually.
You have?
I've always liked
Why
them,
not?
but just recently I've just been watching quite a few documentaries that I've probably seen before, but obviously like renewing your refresh them on OMD. I don't know. I was just doing it over Christmas. I think there's nothing on. I just ended up watching some OMD documentaries and stuff.
Yeah. 1985, the BBC broadcast a concert of OMD from Sheffield City Hall, and I was in the audience, the pit at the front.
You would have been
popping about while
the skinny little kid in
while
the
Andy
front.
McCluskey's doing his yeah, exactly. I was 16. Yeah, well, Andy McCluskey at the front doing his windmill dancing. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things I find interesting is when you discover an instrument like a synth, for example, that you've heard one of your favorite artists use, and then what you do is you try and dissect the track that they've made that you've loved forever, because now you've got the synth that makes one of the sounds, or maybe a couple of the sounds on it. I actually find that's quite a cool little exploration sort of thing to do. Like you kind of go down a path of discovering how they've made their music, and you do learn a lot from it. It's influenced you already, so it's not like an influencing thing because it's already happened.
I could still tell you the equipment that was on that stage at that gig. Okay, Paul Humphreys had a Fairlight CMI Series 2.
Yep.
An emulator, and on top of the emulator 2 was a Korg micro preset. Now you couldn't get a more incongruous looking synth sitting on top of an emulator and a Fairlight micro preset. It's just always stuck in me, one of the strangest sort of combinations. But that Korg micro preset was like the OMD early sound. That's basically what they used. And Martin, whose name I've now forgotten, the other guy who played keyboards, he had an emulator 2 and a Jupiter 8. And Andy McCluskey had his Fender bass, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really.
He didn't always have the Jupiter 8 though, did he? I don't think he always had.
I was in there too. Yeah, no, but at that gig it was definitely a Jupiter 8.
I think when did they start really, like, that was when 85 they were already like massively popular then, but
1978, 1979.
I was going to say
there were late releases.
Late 70s, early 80s was probably when I first heard them.
Yeah. Some of the very first bits, there were sort of releases in, I think, 1979 on, was it Factory? I think Factory before they went to Dindis. Certainly, what was his name? Wilson. Come on, his name's gone now. The guy who wrote.
Tony Wilson.
Tony Wilson. Okay.
Tony Wilson.
Wow. Yeah.
Certainly, Tony Wilson was definitely involved with them right at the very beginning. In fact, it was Tony Wilson's.
Well, Tony did a lot of producing, didn't he?
Yeah, I watched that documentary. They were saying his missus kept on saying you've got to sign them.
Yeah, that was.
She liked the music.
Yeah, that one.
But, yeah. I think that was Electricity when it was the first big sort of.
Yeah.
Electricity was the first big sort of hit that they had.
Yeah.
I think.
I really like that song though. I actually like some of their more popular songs. I don't like, I still like them, but I don't like them as much as some of their not so popular songs. I actually think, like, it's not a bad thing or a good thing to like a popular song either, in any sort of music. But I think some musicians don't get the reward, I guess, for some of their music that isn't popular. And I think OMD is a good example of that, because they if you ever listen to any of the radios play OMD, they always play the popular stuff, but some of their own music is so much better.
Oh, it is. I mean, all on Dazzle Ships, just out there.
Dazzle Ships,
My favourite OMD song by far is Romance of the Telescope. I just
yes. That's amazing. A great song.
Basically because it's covered in Mellotron, which is ace. So
yeah, you can hear that all through.
Well, what's your second favourite then?
My second favourite, new thing of Spectrum Morality. Again, it's one of the less synthy ones. It's very guitar-y, jangly guitars and all sorts. Very unusual OMD song, that. Yeah, I do. I love that song, New Stone Age. So New Stone Age and Romance of the Telescope. Any other contributions, Darren?
No, I was just asking when you were saying that the first one was Follow Mellotron. I was just wondering whether it was going on the keyboard vibe.
We could have WMD songs that we'd like to cheerfully set fire to and never hear again. Commotion. I hate that. That upset me so much when I first heard that record. It was just a pile of drivel from beginning to end. And you think, how can these wonderful people release?
I'm surprised. Music? I'm surprised none of you have mentioned Joan of Arc.
Yeah, but they're like the famous popular ones, aren't they? That you're talking about. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, like Souvenir.
Yeah, Romance.
Souvenir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same album, isn't it? That's the 81
Joan
album.
of Arc in a school covers band.
Tesla Girls and all. See, I like Enola Gay. I know it's a very, very, very popular song.
No, it's great.
I suppose it's the meanings of it, isn't it?
That song has been like so many remixes of that song. It's not funny, isn't it? Like it's probably being remixed to like someone's bedroom's remixing it right now. And it's an easy song to remix too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still like the original.
Another favourite Julian
song. It's surprising.
But yeah, Dazzle Ships would probably be my favourite album. Probably because of the totality of it. Like there's other albums I like, but not everything on it. But Dazzle Ships, like pretty much every single track is a good. Like you say, Telegraph's good, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Yep. This is Helena. Yeah. That brings me back to. I mean, you know when you go away somewhere, and back in the days when you didn't have Spotify or even MP3s. Back in the day when you had to take physical records or cassettes or things with you, right? When you went away. So you had the Walkman, for example. I went to Southeast Asia on a holiday, and you can only fit so many cassettes in your bag. You can't take your whole cassette collection, or you know what I mean. And one of the cassettes I took with me was Dazzle Ships, and I went. I was staying in this place in Malaysia called Penang, and I went on a road bus trip up north to go into Thailand. And the bus trip was, a few hours long and windy sort of roads. And all I took with me was Dazzle Ships. I had the other tapes, I left them back at the hotel, but this little sort of Segway trip I took. And I literally listened to that album for hours and hours and hours, like repeat backwards, there and back. And each time I listened to it, it got better and better and better and better and better. It's one of those things that you'll never forget. Those little sort of memories that they kept you entertained, and they made you feel homely. It's sort of like in a foreign place. And you take your headphones off and you can hear like the Asian music around you, and it's like, put the headphones back on, thank you. So it was kind of like that.
Careful.
Yeah, the album for me that was like that was Who's Afraid of the Art of Noise. That's what I used to take everywhere with me. And
Jim. Jim, yes, one of my favourites.
Robbie will be pleased.
Yeah, closer to the edit, or is it closer to the edge, or something?
Close to the edit.
Close to the edit. Yeah. And Dudley, and I mean JJ, he was on the Pro Synth.
It was.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, very good.
And he destroyed Robbie with his comments about the DX.
About the DX.
Poor Robbie.
Sorry, Robbie.
Oh, that was really good. That was really good, though. That was probably one of my favourite episodes. Like there was that one, and there was also the episode with the guy from Simple Minds. Sorry, I'm having a mental blank. What's his name? The keyboardist from Simple Minds.
Yes.
Freaking hell. Why am I thinking? Mick. Yes.
Mick. I got there in the end.
Yeah. Those were my two favourite Pro Synth Network shows. They were really, really good. Especially when they start sort of talking about the decisions that they made back in the day. Like, you kind of, you would never say this to the general population, but people in the music industry would so much more understand it. Like one of the things that really got my nerdy propeller spinning was when Mick was talking about I think is it Love Song that Simple Minds do, and he said it was a Jupiter 4, and it was set on the arpeggiator. He set it to random, and he just had some sort of pulse width sort of sound going through that, and it was the start of that and he put that through a delay pedal, and that's the start of Love Song. And then they had the nightmare. This is the funny part. They had the nightmare of the drummer having to keep it in sync with this random arpeggiated sound, which would have been hard because the drumming was all manual, right? And you had this arpeggiated electronic sound, and that was the whole sort of start of the song. And you can actually, if you're lucky enough, there's 2 versions of that song. One has got a little bit extra of that start of the arpeggiator sound. It's a bit longer than what you hear normally when you hear the radio version. So if you go into Spotify, I think you can find it on one of their versions of the album, and you can actually hear the delay pedal kicking in, and you hear that sort of twang of the rubber band sound of the delay pedal sort of syncing up, and it's so cool. It's brilliant. I love it. I love that stuff. Yes. Art of Noise is a favourite. Quirky and beautiful. Yeah, I think we all liked Art of Noise. They had a really short, though. They didn't really sort of... I think that it was too short. They should have done more, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, they went on, but certainly when we're trying to think, there were I've got at least 4 Art of Noise albums.
Yeah, I've got 4. I've got 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
one might be a compilation though. You might be right. It might be 3.
I've also got a remix album called the Fon Remixes, Art of Noise Fon Remixes from Fon Studios. It's got all sorts of people on it. Yeah, it was. But it's got all sorts of people on there remixing it. But shall I go and get it? I'll go and see if I can get it. 1 second, I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, go get it. Actually, one of the other bands that I got some rare stuff from is New Order, and I got these. I can't remember if they were at the time. They were definitely CDs because I got them later on as CDs. I actually ordered them from Factory Records, but they're called the Peel Sessions, and they're really like one of the first. You get a few Joy Division Peel. I think there's about 2 Joy Division Peel Sessions, and there's one New Order one at least that I can remember anyway. And it's like their first album. I think it was called Movement, and it's the Peel Sessions, which means that they've gone into I think it might be BBC, and they've recorded with all their gear at BBC playing the tracks on the album, and they sound so totally different to the actual studio album that they make. And it actually is so cool to have these little gold nuggets that are out there. I love that stuff. So when you're making your music, like, don't be scared about having versions that don't make it to the album. Keep them somewhere, because someone is going to love that more than you'll love it as the actual artist. Someone will love it more than you. Keep them.
That, and sometimes one that you'd never chuck on the album, a few years, well, not a few years later, it could be months later, suddenly becomes a really good track that you wish you had put on it, and it's sort of like spawns off something else in a different direction. There's a few tracks I've never put out, and then I've still got them, and it's like, I really like them tracks. I didn't at the time, that's why they never got put out, or you never put them on an album or EP or whatever you're doing. And then a few years down the line, you think, why? It sounds great. What was the problem with it?
So I did that.
No, that's really interesting.
You go, Jim.
Sorry, go on.
You go. No, you go.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that, because I was chatting to this producer, Ben Jackson, who had put out this album under the name of Great Northern called Nocturnes. And my favourite track on this album is a track called Ancient Particles. And I messaged him about it, and he was saying, I very nearly didn't include that at all, because he wasn't sure about it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the best thing on there, it's like amazing. And sometimes it just takes, somebody else's perspective just to tell you what is actually really good. And, so you're often not the best judge of your own music.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's also
that is so true.
Sort of, also you've also sort of like really attached to that piece of music or that track you've written. And if you don't think or you don't feel it's as good as the one that the ones that you're progressing on, you sort of like just go, nah, bin it. But you don't stand back and leave it and sort of actually look at it for what it was. And it's usually, sometimes it's the best thing you've done.
Yeah.
Some of the quick tracks usually can be the best.
Sorry, Darren, I forgot you
don't expect.
Forgot to put the camera on you, mate.
No,
Sorry about
that. No, don't matter. I was just saying, sometimes it's the quick tracks that are the best.
Yeah, like just like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Like before we go to you, Andy, I know you're dying to show the thing, but I'll just quickly we'll wrap this up. On that album that I released in 2019, there's a song on there called Utopia, and when I made that song, it was like 6 minutes long, and there was easily like 12, 13 minutes of that song that existed, and it was like another sort of like a reprise at the end, and it just ended up on the cutting room floor, basically, to use a bad pun. And that ended up becoming Utopia Part 2, which is now on Significant Bit. So if you have Utopia on link, and then you get Significant Bit, you've got like a link between the two albums now with the track and the Part 2. I don't know if has any other musician done that, where they've actually written a track and then they've written the same or Part 2 to a track on a different album, because usually they do it all on the same album, right? They'll have Part 1, Part 2, you know what I mean? Where I've done it Part 1 and then I've put this Part 2 on a separate album, released a few years down the track. I just thought that was something weird to do that I don't think anyone else has done that. I could be wrong.
Maybe the ARB, I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's not exactly like...
There'd be someone who'd do that.
Yeah. I like sort of, messing around with people's OCD, like people like to have things a certain way. I like to crack that. Anyway, Andy, show us your wares. What you got there?
Yeah, I'm afraid it'll look a bit strange with this grainy camera today, but that's it. The noise fun remixes. You won't be able to make it out because that camera is awful today.
If you hold it still,
Netflix.
If you hold it up to the camera and hold it still, and don't move it for a bit, it will eventually pick up the pixels on it. There you go. You can read it now.
You can read Art of Noise. I'll read you the names out. The people that are on it who are doing remixes of the Art of Noise. There's Ian Massey of 808 State.
Yep.
A fairly unknown band called The Prodigy. A fairly unknown DJ and producer, Carl Cox. Him. Some Rhythmatic, not sure about them. Sweet Exorcist. Now that's Richard H. Kirk.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Sweet Exorcist is Richard H. Kirk. Yeah. Well, with a couple of other guys, DJ Parrott and
DJ Parrott,
the guy that was from Fun. Yeah. LFO
Martin
is on here as well.
There's a guy.
Yeah.
There's a house engineer called Martin at Fun. Might have been him.
Actually, the guy's name I'm trying to find is actually on this record sleeve, and it's the next one down on my list. Rob Gordon. That's the name I was after. Rob Gordon. Rob Gordon actually mastered Chillage People album. Do you remember that, Grace? Yes. So Rob Gordon's on here. Youth from Killing Joke and The Orb. Mark Bryden, who I think was in loads of sort of stuff that was out on Warp at the time as well. On the other album I brought in, Synth Addict, is that one.
Yay. God, that brings back memories, eh?
And I've just learned not to put a settee in front of where I put my records, and I should put them in alphabetical order. That would be, then I can find them quicker.
Geez, I'm gonna have to go listen to it. I've still got the cassette. It will still work too. I've shown you guys recently some of the old cassettes I've had from the 80s. They still work. I don't get like they told us that magnetic tape would not last more than 10 years or something. That's what they were telling us. Oh, you get it near a speaker, it's gone, or you leave it out in the sun, it's gone, and all this sort of stuff. So I looked after them. I kept them, out of. But you wouldn't expect them to work at all Like I've got a cassette that goes back to the late 70s. I think I showed you guys the switched on bark one. So that's yeah, that still works beautifully. Sounds beautiful too. Okay, what are we up to? We've given everyone plugs.
All this, considering I was going to say all this, and all I said was I was listening to WMD. An hour later.
There you go. Yeah, so thanks everyone anyway for being on the show. It's been streaming now for nearly almost 3 hours, about to hit the 3 hour mark. Gee, that's a long time. We probably need to stop chatting so much. I don't know. Yeah, but no, it's always been really good to have the usuals on there, and it's awesome, very, very awesome to have Jim on. Jim, you're always welcome to come back, of course.
Cool. Thank you very much.
More than happy. How did your phone? You saying you were streaming through your phone, like your
Yeah, basically, what I have a router that connects to my phone and uses it as a hotspot. So wirelessly, it's
5G.
I've got 5G here. I mean, it worked fine on 4G in my last place, but I've got 5G here, and
you know why it's working, don't you? Because you've had the 5G vaccinations.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, and my booster. Yeah.
Stupid. Exactly. It's very stupid.
Yeah, I'm just off to play tennis now.
Oh, nice.
No, I'm kidding.
How's it going over
there?
I've probably forgotten a million things. I do apologise for not having named that synth. We will do that next week. I just haven't had a chance. It takes time to film this stuff and produce it. So if you want to send one in, please be my guest. All you have to do is a minute video, and it has to be only the sounds coming out of that synth. You can't put it through anything else. And you can send it to me. You can just use the Discord. There you go. Then we'll show the Discord. You can send it to me that way, or you can send it to me through socials. There's plenty of synths out there. The whole point of this is to try and trick us. And if you can trick us, then you get bragging rights that you tricked us all. The problem we've got, Jim, is we've both got mini logs. We've both got electrons. It's going to be tricky. People are going to understand that stuff. And the thing is, everyone's looking around our studio. Yeah. So I don't know. That
I have got one that I could have done for this week, and I was going to do it for you, but I thought, he's probably already got one piped up. Otherwise, I could have. So I've got one that you won't guess. Well, I'm not saying you won't guess, but you may not guess.
I was going to do one, but the hour or two that I spent at the hardware store today was probably the time when I should have been recording it. But anyway, that's all that happens anyway. So, all right, we're going to finish the show. Big thank you to the chatties for being part of it. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Please come back next week. I don't know what topic it's going to be next week. Who knows? Have no idea. But anyway, it'll be something interesting anyway. Today was all about gear for the new year, and we kind of talked about some weird things already. So, yeah. Anyway.
Well, you didn't actually ask us, are we getting any gear for the new year?
Or whether we got any.
Oh, Andy, you were supposed to tell us what you got.
Yeah.
He's off.
It can't wait. It'll still be here.
It's all right, Shot. It's all right.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to wait? We'll leave it till next show.
Yeah.
And you can have it all plugged in.
Just so you know now, I won't be on next week because my cousin is Sheffield on Saturday next week, and they want me to accompany them, her and her partner, around the centre of Sheffield to find all the various bits of artwork by a particularly famous graffiti artist who I've never heard of. So I'm meeting up with my cousin Emma next week, and so I won't be around.
He's going Banksy.
Jim, come back.
There you go. You got.
It's not Banksy. It's some French guy I don't know anything about.
There's a spare spot in the corner, guys. Take it up. Whoever wants it. Spare spot in the corner.
Be allowed back on.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll kick him off. Kick him off forever.
Well, hopefully my internet will have improved by then. God, honestly, I can't believe you're doing yours. I've got a bloody hardware computer going into a thingamajig. Oh,
Who knows?
I give up.
Who
So
knows?
the problem is because it's going into a thingamajig.
It's the thingamajig. Yeah, that's it.
What do you call it? A router. It's going into the router.
Put it into a router, you'll be fine.
You know.
Yes. People in chat are saying no. People in chat are saying no, Mr. Wiggly tomorrow. So that's
Mr. Wiggly,
sad.
oh, is he still not well? Oh, poor lad.
Yeah,
Can we
big.
put Sheffield tours on?
There's a few people that have been unwell. Like I think Robbie was unwell. So big shout out to him. Hope he gets better.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Dom. Hope he gets better as well. So anyone else is feeling poorly, please look after yourselves. It's the new year, and we want you around. We want to listen to your music, and we want to chat with you. So look after yourself. Do all the good things. Anyway, new year. Please enjoy yourselves, and see you all next week. Bye bye. See you later. Thanks for the thanks for the Dr. Synth and Wagyu.
Thanks,
Thanks, Wagyu. See you guys.
Thank you, Wagyu. Trap.
Take care.
Cheers.